instantaneous, on-scene electronic personnel accountability.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Happy Hour here, live from the Deerfield Firegrounds.
Woo.
We are a little over 1 day away for the quest for the cup, the brawl for it all, the state's #1 race for glory, the New York State Trail. I'm Paul Susskind with the Bayshore Redskins, joined by Billy Cornell of the Westbury Turtles, Rob Noonan of the West Sable Flying Dutchman, and Chris Murphy of the Central Islip Hobos will be joining us in a few. Fellas, less than a day away. What do you think?
Going to be a great one. I tell you, we've had some fantastic races this year, and it's been a two-team race all year up until about 2 weeks ago, and all of a sudden, a couple more teams throwing their rings in the hat. Point Pleasant, top 5 at the CI Invite. We've watched North Lindenhurst really pick their game up in the last 2 weeks, and West Sable constantly making progress. All of a sudden, they're a hose power, and they are right in the middle of this whole thing right now. If they can hold on to that ladder, B ladder last week, they are right there for the finals. So, got to be a great race. Rob, what do you see?
Yeah, listen, I totally agree with what you say there, Billy. Just as you'd expect every year, that Central Islip Hempstead leading up to the state drill, you always see the teams start to pick it up. We got exactly what we hoped for. We're starting to see those better times. Just here, Deerfield, we've been here plenty of times for state drills, but it's still kind of an unknown for a lot of people out there. A lot of drivers never been here, hence the reason we're out here today watching the Dusters, teams taking advantage of that, and how many other people haven't raced here. It's just the fear of the unknown.
All right, here comes the Ricky Dinks. There, that noise, and you probably see it on camera, is the team's doing the Dusters out here. Now, one of the reasons a lot of teams are also coming out here, Rob, is there has not been a drill here this year at all. The northern area ended up not having a drill here, and there is no rubber on this track. So the trucks are out here. We got some teams that are running B ladder. Now I think we're going to have some teams running little B hose practice, putting some rubber down, and then I'm sure we're going to get some C trucks out here as well. But you know, that's one of the things that, what would be the difference with the rubber, without the rubber? What's going to be the impact of that at the drill? We don't know yet.
We got a lot of us that have run for a long time, a lot of experience.
Hey!
But have we ever run on a track where there's been no rubber? I mean, they're putting it down now. But have we ever, and it's happened probably in the older days. I'm here 30-something years, but it's happened before, probably Oleon, the airstrips, things like that. I don't know any rubber there, but a little different. You know, we've evolved so much with the sport. I do think it's going to have some type of impact on the trucks and how they stop.
I was thinking the same thing, Rob. When was the last time? Here comes North Merrick. He laid down enough rubber. I don't know if that's where he's supposed to be stopping, but there's now rubber where the second coupling should be.
Well, I like that he's putting shots
In case you
down
wanted to stop
on
there.
the hose side versus
Missed the line.
other side.
Missed the line.
I would say he missed it by, at least 25 feet. So I was thinking about where's the last track we ran on at a state drill that did not have a tournament on that track all year long? It's a long time.
Before us. Well, maybe back at you. You're an older guy.
Now, actually, you're probably right. I think it's going to be when we ran in the ball field in the year, I think it was 89, it gets canceled. That could be the last time.
The state tournament, that wasn't.
That's right.
No, that one worked out great, so this should be fine.
That'd be no problem.
Well, this track
So
much
two
less
things real quick. If you're watching at home, this is actually kind of live. It's actually happening Thursday right now. We're having some connection issues. So we're going to live stream this on Friday. The other thing is I was told to bring a Hawaiian shirt. I thought I had a Hawaiian shirt, but this is actually just a shirt with a bunch of hobo logos on it. So I apologize if you're watching at home. Sorry.
East Farmingdale laying it down a little bit.
There you go.
I'll tell you what, Main Transit's pulling up to do a B-hose shot. I'm curious to see if he runs that tight at the drill. He's pretty tight to the grass over there.
That's right in your old wheelhouse,
Oh,
Paulie.
it sure is. If he can do that, I'm going to be impressed if he brings that on Saturday.
Guys, going back, I think Chris with his shirt, I think he kind of just was looking for a reason to wear that hobo shirt.
Of
No
course.
doubt about it.
This is not only the shirt I wore today for the broadcast, folks, if you can see at home.
Oh, if you
All right.
can see. Look at
If you
him.
can see. But also, this is the uniform for the Hobos band on Sunday. So.
Are they wearing that?
Oh, yeah, bro. This is super professional.
Are you
Follow-
participating?
In the highest traditions of
Bayshore.
fire department parade competition.
Hobo Nation being represented here.
Here's Main Transit. Little B-hose practice. Where's Ricky Bennett going to be when he jumps off that truck? He's been all over the place.
He's going to be the Hydra man.
That's what I'm hearing.
That's what I'm hearing. I saw him. He's
As we're mixing it up, North Lindy's going to come down, and they're going to do another B-ladder shot. Now, the rules, according to how they do these practice runs, is you get 2 shots with your truck, each truck, and you can choose what you want to do with it.
You know, I got to be honest. I know the rule says maximum of 2. That was the way it was written. That rule just passed this year. On a day like this.
What's wrong with taking more? What's wrong with taking a 3 or 4? Yeah.
I mean, you know, like, when go ahead.
That's why you got to be careful with those rules because you just don't know what you're going to run into.
Like we say, if you make a rule out of it, now it's a rule. A suggestion is fine. 2 is a good suggestion, but a day like today, why not? You're here early. We got nothing else to do. Let's run some
Thanks,
runs.
Yogi Berra.
Hey,
You put a rule in, it's a rule.
Thinking about
I'm just saying. Suggestions and rules, 2 different things.
if we think about transferring what we're talking about into the drill, now, last year we were able to run with the backpack. That was part of the rule where the better teams across the state ran in the back. This year that rule's no longer in play, so the teams are all sporadic, supposedly. But when you look at the score sheet, it's a front pack. Now, without the rubber, how's that going to affect everybody? Is it going to have an impact on the drill for these teams that are running up front, especially in B-ladder? And will it help Islip, who's probably out of the really good teams, the one who's in the back of the pack?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. More than any time ever, I think, the Islip Wolves come into the drill on Saturday with an advantage beyond any we've ever seen. For every team, for this track to be as soft as it is, to be as bare as it is, and for them to be running so far back from the teams that traditionally have put up the best times for the year, I think they come into the drill at a massive advantage.
You know, when we talk about doing these duster runs at state drills, it really grew out of the fact that teams are traveling long distances, and they wanted to make sure their trucks were okay after towing on the trailer, maybe going through some rainstorms, etc. This has turned into, hey, we're going to try to run our shot, and how can we adjust and where we at?
And for the teams that are going now, we're early in this process, Bayshore coming down, hitting the brakes. For the teams, what's funny is our instinct is always to wait, right? Like they're running a run, but we could probably keep talking. But yeah. But for the teams that are practicing their shot right now, I don't know that the conditions that they feel and see right now are the conditions that will be there when they go to run their shot on Saturday, right? If you get 20 or 40 passes of each contest or so, right? 20 passes, let's say, and then you get to your turn. What does that look like compared to rubber at 3 and 4 and 5 passes, Rob?
Well, looking at what we have here, I mean, when we got out here, they tested the equipment earlier, there wasn't an ounce of rubber anywhere on the track, so at least we're getting something down. But we're expecting rain tonight, we're expecting rain tomorrow, and even possibly Saturday morning. So does that have an effect? You can only race with what the track gives you, but I do agree with you, Chris. Being in the back on Saturday is an advantage.
And you're actually seeing a lot of teams you would never see come out here and run a duster, right? I mean, I don't know if I've seen West Sable come out and run a duster. Northland Hearst coming out here running a duster.
So West Sable had a little throttle issue right before. I think it was before the free started here.
Yes, exactly. They had a little throttle issue. They pulled off to the side. They never actually left the course. But they got a couple people over, and I'm assuming the fact they're on the line now means...
Well, it's good they didn't leave the course, otherwise they get a no time. Right? You ready?
A duster no time?
Yeah.
If you take 3 dusters, are you thrown out of the drill?
No.
Does 3 dusters add a 10th of your time or something?
Throttle didn't stick.
I look good.
He's on the side of the hill.
And here, listen, you're taking the dusters, you get 2. You know, is there a head game going on? Do you take 1 B or 1 B hose? Do you take 2 of 1? We've seen teams do both so far.
How about this? Let's say there are no dusters. It's raining. West Sable pulls up to the line tomorrow and B-ladder.
There you go.
Throttle sticks. Throttle cable breaks.
Or whatever.
They might just have averted a catastrophe, literally.
So generally speaking, people, we do a happy hour for every tournament, like every state tournament. You know, people come down from upstate. We did it. I tell you, Deerfield knocked it out of the park back in 2018. They did the happy hour here. The northern people, they put out a spread like no other. And hopefully they do the same thing tonight. But it was a great time, and I really hope that some other teams have picked up on that. But didn't quite get where it should have been. I think it's a really good time to Northern does up here.
I'll say this: if you look at the brake marks out there, I hope tomorrow, or Saturday, which will be tomorrow by the time you see this.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah,
Tomorrow.
right? Yeah.
Tomorrow.
I hope some drivers aren't going to come out and try to follow the brake marks because some of them are not in the right spot.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. You pull up to the track, you're like, be lad or be host, be lad or be host. Which one do you do first? I don't know.
B ladder goes in order.
Oh, naturally. Yeah. There you go.
Of course. You gonna run a B host shot before you run B ladder
Which one
shot?
you better at? I'll put my rubber up for good.
Spencerport.
Hey, it looks like the trucks are locking up pretty good here. Also, it's nice and warm today.
Yeah. See what happens after it rains.
We got a little bit of a crowd right now,
Yeah, we got it.
which isn't too bad, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of getting up here, settling in.
Yeah, I love
right?
it.
A couple cold pops. This is
That's-
happy hour, baby.
That's what it is, right? You get up here, you want to get the feel right away, especially if you're racing.
Is that yellow Honda truck coming down the track? Tom Maher driving it through. If I had $3 million.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been a time in the 27 or so years I was racing that I didn't come down to the track as soon as I got here. Yeah, you go to the hotel, you check
Always.
in, but you're always going to come down
here
to the
first.
track, see what's going on, because that kind of gets you into it. You kind of get into the feeling. And listen, we've been talking about this all year, and we called it the brawl for it all, the quest for the cup. We went through a lot of things together the other night. What can we call this drill? But the feeling that we brought to it all year, this is the denouement. This is it. We're reaching the high point of the season. It's coming on Saturday, and the people here, the smell, the atmosphere, they're loving it.
As a kid, see Point Pleasant giving a quick test. Bob Catone behind the wheel. There's something iconic about this location, right? The hill in the background,
Great
the
setup.
arch, Coming here is something of a bit of nostalgia, I think, for all of us, right? The hosts, Deerfield Fire Department, we're going to speak to Gary DeStefano Sr. in just a second. He's on his way up, I think. But the hosts have gotten this down to a science here. They know what they're doing. And North Belmore, as much as we might be a little concerned about the track conditions, we are not concerned about everything else this weekend. These guys know exactly what they're doing.
So true. You're talking about a little bit, the history of racing. When we hit the crossroads in 1989 and that drill officially was canceled because of the track conditions, there was a huge uproar and a lot of arguing about were we ever going to go upstate again for another state drill. The fighting amongst the areas and just even within areas became pretty intense. And I remember the meetings we went through, and it was finally determined that in 90, yes, we're going to go to Deerfield. Because if we didn't go to Deerfield that year, upstate might have never happened again.
1989.
No, 88 was here.
88 was here.
89, it gets canceled.
Right.
So a lot of teams we're never going upstate again. That was ridiculous.
So, and I'm a little murky on the history here too, but just to let everybody know, remind everybody, this is the 75th crowning of a state champion this year, officially, according to our organization. What a anniversary. As Miller Place gives it a B ladder shot. But Watertown is effectively the last time where we position the state drill in a location generally in the area of the FASNY convention, right? Is that
Correct.
fair to say?
Yes.
So in 88, when we were here, FASNY was in the area,
yes.
right?
Yep, and it was all good.
And and then 89 comes. We have these conditions that are just insurmountable, dangerous, and whatever happens, whoever you stand upon the history of that drill, it doesn't exist for our record book. Otherwise, today would be the 76th crowning
That's
of
right.
a New York State champion.
Now that's the tightest line you're ever going to see in your life right there.
Yeah, he was mowing some grass right there.
Gosh.
Trust me, I've been there.
Mowing grass. I like
Mowing
it.
grass.
He was
Mowing
6 inches
grass.
From,
He was
from the
mowing
mow
grass.
strip there. Wow. But yeah, you're absolutely right there, Chris, with the whole thing with the safety issues upstate there that year.
But like I said, if it was not determined to say, hey, we're going to go to Deerfield, because there was quite...
You're talking for their invite, Paulie.
No, I'm talking for the state drill.
Well, the state drill wasn't there again until 96.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
So then where did we
Shut
go?
up. All right,
Oh,
wait.
here we go.
So,
I'm not trying to contradict you here. I was confused.
wait. No. So we go
let's not
90,
be-
92, 94
Right.
main transit.
Right.
And that was my next question
Right.
was, how did we determine the rotation, right? Because at some point we get into this rotation now, which is Nassau Northern,
was-
Suffolk
yeah,
Western,
that's
Nassau
different.
Northern, Suffolk Western. And that change, I would imagine, happened sometime around, let's say, 96
Right
or
around
so.
there.
I
Yeah.
guess when we come
Exactly.
back to Deerfield in 1996, that would have been the first time, right?
So yeah, that's my bet on Deerfield. But the determination to come upstate was a big deal, or we wouldn't have then had any more state drills here if you want to go that way. Lyndhurst.
Big sexy. There it is.
Rob, just the fact that you politely corrected Paulie, he's completely on his back of his heels right now.
I
He's
don't
just
know what to
totally
do.
on his ass.
I'm running it through in
He's
my head a million
struggling.
ways, sideways.
He doesn't even know how to handle. Like he
When
can't
was-
compute.
oh, okay,
I
I
can't
got
be
it, I got
wrong.
it.
But
When-
Paulie,
I
it
can't
may-
be wrong.
I got it. When was the state tournament in Hagerman? No, that wasn't.
Paulie,
91.
your argument's correct. It's just
No, I
90. We
know.
went to main transit.
Oh,
90,
which was still
91.
upstate.
Right?
Let's put it to as Paul can understand. Paul, what year did you win?
Oh, he knows that answer.
And where was that?
Yeah. Ready, set, go.
30.
All right, go off Paul years.
36.
Paul didn't
I'll
make
say
like
this.
credit in it. His name was in every box.
Oh, it's
Best looking, best hydrant man,
No,
fastest, youngest,
That's my,
Superlatives.
that's my other. That's my
best
other
teacher in
grid.
Suffolk County. I mean, he's all of those.
No, my grid is all racing,
Absolutely.
but I am in every box. Try to do it. I would love to see you try to do
Weirdest
it.
thing
in
was when
every
he was
box.
homecoming queen. That didn't make any sense. to
That
me.
almost got you in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, a little left-hand turn there at the hydrant. All right. Without further ado, our special guest is here. I'll let you guys take over, and I'll move over and give him
Yeah.
his spot, sir, please.
I'm pretty sure he was in every box.
Yeah. We're being joined by Gary DeStephanis.
Gary
Check, check.
DeStephanis.
There's probably nobody more instrumental in having these state drills than you, Gary, of course. We've said that before, but welcome, Gary. Welcome. Are you with us? You got it all? Can you hear us? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Is it on?
I don't know.
What?
Now can you get us? All right. Like I said, we're joined by Gary DeStephanis, Deerfield Fire Department, probably the most instrumental person in putting not only this state tournament on, but going back to 1988. Gary, welcome.
Thank you.
And I
Thank
know
you,
you've
Paul.
been putting a lot of effort into this. Maybe just give us a little background about this drill.
Well, this drill is just like any of the others, but every one of them is a lot of work trying to put it together. It really is. We're so proud to have you guys back here again. My biggest and only regret is that we don't have a team on the track. Like a lot of departments throughout this state, volunteerism is down. We used to get 2 or 3 applications a month. We get 2 or 3 a year now.
That's crazy.
It's a tough situation. And that's my biggest regret, that we don't have we've got the vehicles ready to go. We just can't keep the guys together. And the guys we do get become EMTs and work swing shifts, and, so
Yep.
I can't make practice this night. I can't be there Saturday, so it's tough, But it's great to see this still going on. And we're never going to be out of it. We're going to keep trying to come back.
When you guys start building this track for the 88 state drill, did you ever in your wildest dreams think you'd be going to state drill number 7 here in Deerfield? I mean, did
Not-
you have
not
that
that.
much forethought?
But the group of guys we had back then, the property you're sitting on right now, 13 acres was all woods, just like the trees you see across the thing here.
So this entire
Ravines.
field and the track was woods.
It's all woods. Yep. And we bought it in the early 80s. This is owned by the firefighters, the volunteer firefighters. It's not owned by our district. Everything here that you see, we built. And I'm saying we built.
Yeah, Gary, we saw a number of pictures that made it from when you guys had cleared out all the trees.
Right.
It was kind of dirt. And how long did that whole process take from once you started to what we see here? Yeah, I know you've always
Well,
improved upon it,
we-
but to where you can host a drill.
We improved it every year. Every year we put something more into it.
How long did it take to get it on to where you could host a drill?
It took us about two and a half years, but the group of guys the group guys that we had there were second to none. They were all hose busters. Hose busters were the catalyst of everything that happened here. But our fire department supported us 100%. Believe it or not, everything you see here was made by our fundraising money. And we had fish fries and fun drives. And, it's all, nothing's paid by the taxpayer. Nothing.
And listen, Gary, I think that's so impressive. What it would take to fundraise to make this happen. Spent a long time in Hempstead, helped host so many drills, and I know what it took just to kind of try and keep a facility up and running, not building one from the ground up. I can't imagine being able to have that kind of financial support. So that's just amazing you guys could make that happen.
I got to say it again. We had a most unique bunch of people back then. We had guys from every genre. We had plumbers. We had electricians. We had guys that did road work. We had guys that were carpenters, electricians. It all came together, and we all had a goal. And our goal was...
and you guys were like borrowing that equipment, the road graders and stuff, right?
I like the bulldozers. They look nice too.
We had the mud project going on, which is the new Route 12 going up over top of the hill. And they had all kinds of heavy equipment going. And we were trying to cut trees down but with chainsaws and building bonfires out here with the brush. And we all said, we ain't never going to make this, And how are we going to move all this dirt? So I went to this company that was building the road things, and I said, not for nothing. I says, we're trying to put in a Firematics track. I says, we've got equipment operators that can run the equipment. Is there any chance we could borrow a dozer, a big dozer like a D8? He says, well, how long do you need it for? I says, well, if we have it for a weekend. And he says, is that all you need it for? And I go, well, can we have it more than one weekend? He says, yeah. What else do you need? I said, and I explained the whole racing situation to him. And he says, we'll drop them off on Friday night, and we'll pick them up Monday morning. I says, they'll be full of fuel when you leave. I says, we got equipment operators that know how to run stuff. So we got dozers, we got scrapers, the big pans with the scrapers.
Right.
And then, so.
How many cases of Utica Club did that go through?
Ungodly. Ungodly. No. But this whole hillside here, the last day we had a big D8 dozer, we were pushing out this section of track right where we were sitting. And it was midnight on Sunday night. And we're running that dozer. And I don't know if you guys remember Spike.
Yep.
Spike was running the dozer, and I'm holding a flashlight for him. He says, Gary, it's midnight. It's midnight. I says, Spike, this thing is leaving in the morning. We got to push this last section up on the embankment. We did it. Kept it running.
And that's the hill.
And that's the hill.
That's awesome.
We had it for the rest of it, but unbelievable. I can't say enough about the group of people we had back then, and the guys now support us a lot, Yeah, it's so good to have you guys back here. This is the most fantastic.
So I get you this morning, Gary, and who do I see out here working?
What?
You're out here. Your son's out here.
Yeah.
A couple old timers.
Yeah.
I've known for years from you guys back 2006 when I first, 1996 when I first met.
A lot of guys that built this are gone now.
Wow.
But
And you're still out here, like me and Danny said to you.
yeah,
Without you guys, does this even happen?
yeah.
No, there's no way. There's no way this happens without you guys.
I don't know. It's sad in that respect. You start thinking about that. It's kind of sad to see it maybe going away, but we got to do anything we can to keep it on. And the younger generations coming up through, stick with it. Keep it going. Whatever you got to do to keep it going, stick with it.
Well, the place looks great. I mean, the facility is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
It's like, we were talking about when's the last time we went somewhere where we went to a track that wasn't built specifically for racing. And it's a long time ago.
We don't plow this in the winter. We let it stay so it doesn't freeze or heave. But you just putting the track down, you wouldn't believe it. We were bringing in gravel, and we figured about 50 loads. Well, at 150, they kept bringing it. And I had a stack of receipts for gravel this thick in my hand. And we said, look, they're hauling it on a Saturday. Just keep the trucks coming.
Yeah.
And we had to pay for it all. We raised the money to pay for it all. We bought the property. It was just, I just can't say enough about our people.
Well, it's still an incredible story. I mean, is that even possible to get done today? I don't know. People are working so many jobs and things are so difficult. As you were saying, getting people involved. that I don't even know what's possible today. But
It's like the arch. Does that look familiar to any of that stuff? Look familiar to you? The
Looks
arch
like
itself?
I was just gonna say that's a gantry from
Highway,
a
right?
highway sign. Yeah,
We were wondering what we were going to do for an arch. Right?
that is perfect.
yep.
And I brought it up to Spike. He worked for O.W. Hubble, and I says, "Hey, Spike, you guys got any? They take those signs down once in a while." He goes, "Yeah, why?" I says, "Well, what if we got two uprights and took one of them sign things and turned it up so we could make the deck on top?" It's a heck of an idea. So he went and checked, and sure shit, says the language. Excuse the language.
You're fine.
They donated it to us, and we wanted it longer, but it's the biggest piece they could get us.
I love that. That's
We
perfect.
wanted it more so it covered the whole width of the track, but that's all we could get. So we made it work. It worked out
No
great.
doubt.
Hey, and when you tear it down, it's aluminum. It's worth
Yeah.
some good Mongo.
Yeah. Bleachers. The high school was putting in new bleachers. So the bleachers on the right-hand side, those bleachers on the far side were over here before. And that's the second set of light poles we've had up. And that's a story in itself. And the bleachers are a story. We asked the high school people that were putting in a new stadium down in Ilion, would they consider donating the bleachers to us? Well, they said, if you can get them out of here in 2 days, you've got it.
There you go.
We had about 30 people, trucks. We took every nut and bolt off, every seat down. Everything was in pieces. We labeled everything, brought it all over here, and then we put it all back together again after we had the footers poured.
Yeah, listen, that's an example that you guys set that really you can't see match, but it also, to me, signifies or symbolizes the epitome of the volunteer fire
Yeah.
service,
Yep.
and everything you
We were-
guys
we
have
were
done
like a family.
is so awesome.
And that's what's so nice about racing. You get to know everybody, you know. Racing did a lot for our department. You know, the team was the catalyst of our department, made our department go for more. We had more fundraising. We were together. We go racing on weekends. We stay overnight. The kids all played together. You know, it was great. You know, and a lot of them are racing now. You know,
Yeah, no,
you guys know that.
You find that just about everywhere you go in
Yeah.
racing teams. It's the same story with that, and then when you go to these tournaments over the years, you meet other people from other teams, and everybody commingles and gets together, and you're like, it's one big family.
Yep.
And this is the biggest weekend for that family to get together, and
Absolutely.
we're really happy that it's going to be here at this great facility. Now, a little something different. So you're not just the architect of this whole thing. You're a racing guy.
Yeah.
So you ran for a lot of years with the Hosebusters. So just give us
Well,
a little.
the last year I climbed sea ladder steady I was 48. I was 48 years old.
48 years old, and you're the climber.
And I climbed after that, but we had my nephew come up through Keith. Everybody remembers Keith. He was right there. We were right there.
Yeah, very up and coming
know?
at the time.
Yeah,
Yes,
we were very.
he was running some really good
we had
numbers.
a couple of unfortunate incidents that happened that we took a severe downturn right about then. So, but all teams go through that type
Yep.
of stuff. You make one little mistake and.
And what year did you start running with the Hosebusters?
1967.
67. When you're running in 1967, where
Well,
this isn't here. This
no,
is Woods.
no.
So where
And,
are you?
I was a young kid, all right, and the team raced. The Hosebusters raced in 1965 down at the Utica Memorial Auditorium. That was the first year ABC Wildwood Sports covered racing. And Jim McKay, I remember him. He was there. My father took us down there to watch the racing. Jim McKay was the short guy. They had to have him stand on a
box.
like a box.
He was short?
Yeah, he was a short
I
guy.
had no idea.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny. And
Oh, you're calling him short. That's even more fun.
well,
Easy, but
you know, 65 got me really interested. But we were in scouting together, all of us younger guys, and
So you all grew up together, and then
yeah,
you
we
start
grew
the
up,
team.
and then we said, hey, what do we do next? Well, let's join the fire department.
Where are you guys? When you're doing that, where are you running? Where are you practicing? Where's your track?
No, we're practicing on oil and stone roads, way up on top of the hill.
Oh, yeah.
We never had a track to practice on, you know. It was-
painted some stripes and let it go?
So many stories, I'll tell you.
I'm sure there are.
Road rashes, road burns.
Oh, yeah.
I remember breaking in a new thrower. I was climbing, and I said to Tony DeSico, was our driver at the time, I says, Tony, take it easy, you know, a couple of times, and let's see how it goes. He took it easy, and we get off, we threw, I'd climb. I says, okay, Tony, I says, let's give it a full shot this time. Well, I'm still watching the thrower, and my toes are up on the back running board, and he pops a wheelie. The heels of my feet hit the road. And I go, oh my God. And I'm trying to get my feet back on the car. I go, 1, 2. I said, tuck and roll, tuck and roll. I was tucked. But on that rough road, I was tore to shreds. I was tore to
2 words
the
you don't want to
ladder
hear off the truck are tuck and roll.
Yeah, no,
No.
not a good feeling.
The ladder came over me, spun me around that road.
Hold on to the ladder, man. Those are the rules.
Don't let
Hold
go of the ladder.
But you get up and you do it all over again. So.
All right, well,
Unbelievable.
Gary, it's a privilege for us to have you up here and to be here again. You know, it's just great to have the state tournament here at least one more time, hopefully a lot more. The facility is great, and kudos to you and everybody that was
Yeah.
here working with. And
I just got to thank our volunteers, our chief and our commissioners and stuff for supporting us on this, you know, and our firefighters that help us out here, and our neighboring departments that help us out too. And the volunteers that come just from our community to come in and help us out doing all our fundraising events and everything. We wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for those people. That they really mean a lot to our department, and we all become really good friends. And thank you guys for the superb job you guys do on this radio announcing. It's unbelievable.
well,
It's
thanks
really
for stopping by, Gary. We really appreciate it.
Guys, before you let Gary go, I just wanted to take an opportunity here to present Gary with our 2023 commemorative challenge coin, sir. I know you're a challenge coin guy.
Oh, thank
and
you very much.
this would be the Gary coin, effectively, because on the back here we've got every time you guys have ever hosted.
Oh,
so
great.
and that B truck. So
Yeah, oh man, that's beautiful.
I hope you like it, and
Thank you very
we
much.
thank you guys so much for all that you've done for us and all the hospitality that you guys have provided for us for all the years. So thank you,
Well,
sir.
we got it
and,
on again tonight, so. and-
Amen.
And after the meeting on Friday, tomorrow, so.
We don't want to broadcast it too much because I want to make sure that there's plenty of beverages for me tonight. So keep it.
Well, Gary,
We're-
thanks for being with us,
Thank you,
Gary.
guys.
It was a pleasure having you.
Thanks, Gary.
Gary, you're our first recipient ever of the challenge coin.
That's right.
In your honor.
That's right.
Believe it or not.
Thank you, sir.
Talk about impressive stuff, right? what it's
Fantastic.
turned into out of a field of trees and how they got it to be. And like you said, Rob, it's the epitome of the volunteer fire service in that coming together and working together and getting those things done.
And
Just
those,
the fundraising just blows my mind.
It's unbelievable.
And I came from with the Hornets and the Flukes. We had to do a lot of our own fundraising, but to be able to do it to this magnitude and have the people be willing to stick with it, unbelievable.
Well, they have those fish fries every Friday. Now, when you think about a fish fry, and there's a lot of them, it's fish fries. How do you spell fries?
FRY.
S.
Apostrophe S, just an S, I-E-S. How are you spelling it?
S apostrophe.
The thing that blows my mind about the space the most, what he said was, the drill team, the Hosebusters, own this whole facility themselves. There's no district involved, there's no department involved. They've raised all this money for all the years. I mean, this goes back, what he said, to 1980,
Yeah.
whatever, 1990, when they first started building the place. So,
We while you guys were interviewing Gary, I should say, we were actually had a roll on the screen in the truck of some photos that Paul gathered from Gary, showing the construction, showing the development, and that great photo, Paul, that you sent us of like the 13 guys on the on the payloader, right,
Yeah.
or on the bulldozer, and like that's how it got done. That's how it got done. With the street signs, man. I mean, this is brilliant. This is a perfect arch,
Yep.
And that's what it took, and that's what they did,
Listen, the fire service is born out of creativity, the ability to take something when there's a problem and be able to adjust. And
Amen.
they did
Yeah.
so much of that here. If you haven't noticed, our dusters have switched to the C trucks. You probably hear that in the background. So we're in the back half of the duster section of the day.
Yeah,
but
so-
there's things here.
Yeah, no, so what I planned on doing was going down a little bit through the lineup and just give a little preview since this is the preview show. We're all here in our Hawaiian shirts. Well, one of us is in a hobo shirt, but that's, I guess, all right.
Imagine that.
Yeah, shocking. So let's take
This
a
is the
little,
closest I get to patterns.
let's take a
Okay.
little look.
Vertical stripes at best.
Oh,
All right. This
you have
is-
patterns.
This is a
but
real reach.
You've got a lot of patterns with nothing to do with shirts. But anyway, it's another day.
I think.
Uh,
Okay.
So the lineup
We
comes
are
out.
not drinking.
We talked about that last year was the backpack, and then that went by the wayside.
Front
so
pack.
Now it's just random again, but it turned into the front pack.
The fanny pack.
Yeah, right, exactly. And the leader, I think, is that them on the line right here? Is that Riverhead?
Yes.
That is the
So-
Riverhead Ironman.
Perfect timing. Yes, it is. I see the Polish Eagle. So
Polish
Riverhead
Beef with
is
Sugar. There he is.
your
yeah.
number one team off the starting line on Saturday morning to get this drill going. Now, when you think about Riverhead, what are some thoughts about Riverhead? I thought maybe an outside chance. They scored in pump a couple years ago, and you just watch them run pump. Now, they might start the pump a little late, maybe not get the water on as fast as other teams. But is there a pump in racing that can push the water as much as that one?
It does seem like it moves water, and it's definitely one of the better pump trucks we have on a track, which is you always kind of want to watch those because you never know what's going to happen. A little more interesting. But running in that number one slot was never my favorite. But
Agree.
you know, it's always that luck of the draw,
Yeah,
and it's theirs.
7:15 at the Riverhead County Tournament. That's a good pump track. And up here, you get great water up here. We were up here 2006. Here comes North Belmont. Speedwagon 2000.
Listen, and out of we've seen that 7:15 is very close, especially on this track, to being able to dip into the sixes. But I think the most impressive run for Riverhead this year is their 8:62 and B-Hose at the Hempstead Invite, and that shows that they can definitely put all of it together. Depending on how this track wants to help or hurt teams in stopping, they could be a team that sneaks in for a couple of points in B-Hose. We've seen that before,
Well, much like they did a couple years ago in pump, but a great thing for them running number one is they have an opportunity to be in first place in a lot of contests.
Take a picture of that scoreboard.
Amen.
Just,
Before the other boys get
just
up there.
avoid the letters, and you'll be all right.
Be fine. All right, so the running number two is North Babylon. North Babylon,
Haven't
maybe
seen
a
them
little
yet
bit of
today.
a difficult year. They came out. They were running down here before. They got some Deer Park guys with them.
They're going to get the C-Truck back for the state tournament, apparently. That's what the word on the street is.
Have they had a chance to run with it?
Now they finally got it back just before CI, and they didn't get a chance to run it, but I'm assured that the Deer Park Bucks have okayed it to let it happen today. So we'll see hopefully on Saturday.
One of the things I like about the Deer Park North Babylon connection is it's obvious that they've kind of buddied up a little bit, right? Sometimes you get a merger and it's oil and water and it doesn't really come together. It seems like these two departments are both similar departments. They're both firefighting departments. Rob and I will handle that portion of the conversation.
Oh, what's that supposed to be?
I almost passed out.
I feel I violated that.
Over there, left side of the table, blacked out. Right on your camera. But
Someone's got to feed you guys.
that's how this. That's how these things do start to reseed, to replant a team, right? Both of these teams came together to get enough manpower to race, and now they're going to continue to develop. But that's only going to happen if they continue to gel as well, right? I think, and I've seen that this year from those guys.
And they got Deer Park Avenue. It's a nice avenue. They both cover it, and they're right there day in and day out.
There you go.
Next up, and probably the first team to hit the start line that's has a good chance of being in the top 5, the Bandits from Farmerville. Now, when you think about the Bandits, you would imagine that if you look at them throughout the entire year, they can score in all 8 contests, but do they? Do they put any contest together? That's going to be a big deal in determining whether they're in the top 5. Obviously, they have some hose contests.
I mean, Paul, any team in a sport will always want to strive for consistency, and there is a team, I think, that needs to find that consistency to try and put themselves in position to be in the top 5 every week. They definitely have the talent level. We've seen them change climbers a little bit here and there, and I don't know if that's by necessity or exactly the reason. Billy might have a little more information on that. That's tough to change your climber during the year.
And we've seen them run great hose. Their most consistent runs are probably B&C hose. The problem is, do they have any hose left? Because they have to be. I mean, let's be
What do you
honest.
mean? Let's clarify for fans listening at home. What happened? What happened to their hose? What happened to their hose?
They've got to be scrambling based on the fact they were called on the carpet and got
times.
banged a couple times. Now, what do you do? Listen, I've been in that situation. What hoses do you put together? You got to come up with something that you think is going to work here.
Yeah.
Because you got the talent, you got the truck, you can put it on, you can hit the target. But now in the back of your mind, the biggest worry is the hose.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be spending some time in practice where you've got laying different links out, combinations, doing some testing, and what's going to be the best you've got that isn't going to put you in a chance to be illegal.
Well, I'm sure they're going to put one out there that's going to be within a couple of hundreds. They have it figured out pretty well, and they got burned earlier this year at the county tournament.
But when they were
1260,
fast,
but
they were fast. They weren't
they were
close.
21 hundredths versus the 15 that's allotted, but doesn't matter. They've got it figured out, and I'm sure they're going to have one dialed in.
Keep them away from the ice machine.
Hey, yeah.
Two things
Deer
for
Park will
me.
be having ice for us, by the way, tomorrow. So.
Two things for me with Farmingville as one of our Fab 14. Number one, making the choice to go from Steve Chimsamy to Justin Russo. All right, now that's to swing for the fences, basically. Okay, Justin is a climber who could run maybe a better floor number, right? But not necessarily have the consistency that we saw from Steve all year, basically replacing Justin, who was coming back from a little bit of an injury earlier this year. Steve ran 3 9s. All right, so if a 9 takes points, that you might see the Farmingville Bandits kicking themselves in the butt. That being said, if Justin shows up and he runs a 5:40, they made the right choice. So that's a manpower thing. But the other thing to me for Farmingville that jumps out, they completed a 9 in efficiency in every single tournament this year except for one at the very end of the year at Hempstead. So I'd say that their best contest right now is probably efficiency.
And Steve's 3 9s, not one was a real good ladder. He climbed some really cockeyed ladders and did a nice job of doing it.
There's certain guys who just have that Spider-Man-esque ability. Mike Passero that comes to mind, right? Guys who just climb anything you throw at him. Literally, Mike last year at the Sea Ladder climbing with nobody else holding the ladder, right?
Unbelievable.
And we'll talk about the Point Pleasant P Pickers in just a second. But to me, Steve was one of those guys, a great first-year climber, but now they've got Justin, their regular climber, back in the game.
Last point on Farmingville. All right, you guys watch that last tournament? Hang on, here we go.
Horizon.
All right, one quick question. Your thoughts. So, ended the Hempstead tournament last week. Last team running Farmingville, they leave their guys hanging on the ladder. Funny or not?
Wait, what?
I thought it was great. after West after West Sable
I didn't know what happened. I think it was the funniest thing I ever saw.
I laugh at it. I think it's funny, but I mean.
Were they missing somebody on the ladder, though?
No.
They had their full team?
They were ready to go. They
can run that contest.
They left those 2 kids hanging. It was funny to watch, but got to tell you.
To me, they can run that contest.
You made the whole host committee put all stuff back up there. The officials put everything back on top after they broke the record just before West Sable.
Well, I didn't think of it that way. That kind of sucks.
That's kind of what
Hey,
you kind of did them a little dirty there, but
I didn't think of that.
I heard there were some angry people back in the band camp that night.
Was
We'll see
there?
if that transfers over to Saturday.
Oh, Jesus.
All right.
I don't think you're going to see that on
That's not the
Saturday.
fun.
No.
Let's get
Probably true.
Let's get the Western's Point Pleasant P Pickers. Great job. They placed in a major tournament
Wait a
for the first time
second.
in their lives.
Oh, okay, go. Oh, I was skipping
They
one. No, you're right.
followed Farmingville.
Yeah,
so
no, Point Pleasant, right? Now, Point Pleasant, and I was
Fantastic
shocked.
times.
First of all, I'm shocked to hear this. They come down the track in a major motorized drill for the first time ever since
too.
their inception, 1935.
35.
I could not believe when I hear that from Steve Muscari. I'm like, wait a second, never even a top 5? And nope, that was the first one ever.
Mind blown by that, too.
First one ever. Now, talk about their chance to be. This is, to me, and they've had some really good ladder teams. To me, this is their best chance ever at a top 5 at a state drill. Why? Because they can run more races right now, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. And what's interesting to me about Point Pleasant was, as incredible as that stat is and as successful as they were at Central Islip that day, it didn't really faze them. Right? There was no champagne baths, right? We weren't celebrating like this was crazy. This group, this team, has bigger dreams, right? They have better plans. And if you see the way that they handled that 4th place, right? It was 4th place,
Yeah.
5th place, right?
Yes,
I mean, it
4th.
was like, good, this is what we expect to do. We're going on to the next round. And I think that's wisdom. That's veteran status, right? That we have been waiting for this group to step into. And they might be right on the precipice of that.
I think they've got a focus. You know, they've got goals. Like you said, they've got higher aspirations, and they're focused and they're driven. And there's a lot to be said for that. When you've got everybody on the same page and they're pushing for the same goal, you know, they're going to keep working until they get there.
So my number one take at Point Pleasant is when the money was on the line, they had their best tournament. I like to highlight team's best times of the year in my notebook. And you look at Point Pleasant, they had their best day of the year at CI.
In the notebook.
Right here, they ran a 5:05, a 9:09, a 9:62, a 23:78, and a nice 6:61 to pick up 4 points. That got them on the track at the end of the day. So when the money's on the line, they put up the best shot of the year. And
Yeah.
guess what? They've only raced 4 tournaments because they have a short schedule up here. it's going to be fun to see what they do on Saturday.
I think you've highlighted 5 different contests. Is that what you're saying right there? So 5 are their best runs of the year.
Well, that's
4.
I
Oh,
just
the
put that-
points. Sorry.
Yeah.
So out of the 8 contests, half of them, their best times of the year is when it mattered most so far.
There you go.
So that's a great point. And the fact that they can run hoses and some pump makes a big difference.
All right, let's move it along here. We got a lot
Very
of teams
interesting
left in the
adjustment there by the West Sable Flying Dutchman in their break.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that?
No.
Yeah.
Little
But listen, I don't want to leave. I don't want to
I'd
leave.
be. I
we did see
think I got to change my survivor pool to West Sable and see hose all of a sudden.
Oh,
we did see
Jesus.
Deer Park come through with their sea truck, so that was
Yeah, that's right. So,
interesting
but one
shot.
more thing before we leave Point Pleasant. I mean, Point Pleasant, another legitimate top 5 contender.
Definitely.
Can they win the whole thing? I don't know if they have enough races.
Yep.
Because when we're looking
Yeah,
at the
need some help.
teams that are winning, it's all day long.
All right, let's just real quick question: how many contests does the winner score in?
I'm going to say
Score
7.
in?
7.
I don't know.
Probably
I
6.
If you look back,
I think
over
you
the-
need 6.
I think you
need
need 6. But like I say, if you look back at all the state drills here, with the exception of Central Islip in 2014, where they scored 31, nobody else has really got over 21. So
yeah.
you're looking at 4 or 5, if you score big enough, can put you in that position.
I think the biggest question, the biggest prediction question for everyone is over or under 20 points.
For the win?
If you're
for the
watching,
win.
if you're watching our year this
Gotta be
year,
over.
I think it's way over personally.
I think that this drill ends up racing very similar to 2015, with a lot of teams in the mix to win at the end and 18 points to win it.
Wow,
I think that, and there is going to be, so it's the middle of the day is going to be real brutal.
You're being very generous.
All right, we'll see. We'll see.
All right.
You heard it
So
here first.
next up, runner number 5 is Belmore here from Jay Podolsky. He thinks P-Hose could be the one race they have an opportunity to maybe put up a number where they can see themselves up on the board for a little while.
Yep.
It's been a tough year for them too. They've been in and out. I said practice was a little better than their best time this year.
Yeah, but we just haven't seen a lot of Belmore.
Yeah,
and
it's-
Nah, they've
they've
raced a
been
couple
having, I think,
tournaments.
injuries and the ability to get everybody together and practice. Talking to Jay just a little bit. Yeah, it's tough.
I just always like to see that truck out there because it reminds me of Roosevelt running that first 7, and it's the history of that.
Yep.
In itself, that truck is still out here racing, brought back so they can do it more. I mean, I always like that. It's always a great thought. So then you get to the next one. One of the big 4 this year, the West Sable Flying Dutchman, as Spencer Port's going to come down.
Wow, that thing's that truck's got some juice. You see that thing coming out?
Yeah.
A little squirrely in the middle there, but he got right through it.
when we get to West Sable, we talked about the big 4 this year. Your CI, Islip, West Sable, North Lyndhurst. West Sable's in the mix. So to me, out of the 4 teams, they've made great improvements all year. But we just talked about consistency. And for West Sable to win the state drill, they would have, to me, score at least 6 races. And I think they need at least 4 or 5s in a bunch of them.
Yeah, listen, you're talking about 639, 638 in the last 2 major motorized drills and 3-man ladder. A 525, 516, and a what had to be a 5.0. Yee! Right? We were real close to Wowzers.
508.
All right,
508
508 in the truck. So that ended up being a no time due to a failure to grasp and hold. The point being here, though, is that this team is very close to 5 points in pretty much every contest. All right, if not the favorite to win 5 in every contest. And they hold 2 of the big 8 times for the year. 2 or 3? Help me out real quick here.
Buckets, obviously.
Excuse me, 3. They hold 3 of the best times for the year. B-Hose 781, Motor Pump 592, Buckets General Judges 2068. So you're talking about a team with the ability to finish, okay? And we've seen how teams who can finish can produce, especially in a low-scoring drill.
And you've seen their trajectory go up as the year went on. Yeah, they made the changes in B and C hose, and it's worked out for them. Their trajectory is moving in a way. Now, as I said at the last drill, their racing is better than it appears on the scorecard still. Their scorecard hasn't shown it, the 28 points or the 30, but they're racing like that.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting.
First appearance by the Hobos on the track. I'll give you a little update on the Hobos. Last night, they're loading the trucks up, and they find a crack in the drive shaft Had to replace a part in the drive shaft last night before they loaded the trucks up.
Wow.
Nothing but trouble with the B truck this year. And
Yeah.
I didn't hate how that looked. That looked like that could play if that's how we race. But
that would look fine to
there's been
me.
a lot of kid gloves with that B truck right now. So before we go any further, I just did want to, guys downstairs, if you wanted to throw up our tip jar, ding dong. Hit us on Venmo if you're watching this at home. Venmo at NYSFD Drill Teams. We'll be talking about it all Saturday, but this goes towards improving the broadcast. We hope you guys like what we have done so far. We'll jump in on this in about 5, and we'll talk this one up too.
All right, so next up,
Hands right now, we'll take cash.
Cash is king.
next up on the scorecard is Westbury. To me, the question with Westbury running is, can they score in multiple events? Right? And do they have an outside chance of a top 5? Do you think Westbury has an outside chance of a top 5? We've seen them come close in events. Maybe they didn't even complete them, but it's almost there. I don't know they have what it takes to be in the top 5.
I think
Last night we had a great practice. All 8 events did well. Hempstead, we had a nice tournament, a little overtime at Beeline. Other than that, it was top 10 runs in all the other events. And last year we had no shot in the New York State tournament. We came in 6th place. Just missed out on a fist shot and a pump shot, and we'd have been right there.
I just want to say that we won the state tournament 13 times in the practice week before the state drill. Just want you to know. So I don't know where
think
that'll
they're
get
trending
you.
in the right direction.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Can they bring it on Saturday? I think it's going to take a little bit, but I think the talent is starting to get there.
Like I said, we're always a great Columbus Day tournament team.
We've seen improvement over the course of the year, and
No,
for
really
any
good to see.
team, that's what you want. You want to keep getting better and moving forward.
Yeah, their
Listen-
trucks are running great. Mike Athena's driving them awesome. Mercadona doing a nice job. Danny Cornell running a good job with the team over there. Good job by the Turtles, and best of luck tomorrow.
Next up is Spencerport. Now, Spencerport, they're able to score in multiple events. Do I think they can be top 5? I think they're also one of those teams that is just going to be outside, but I think they can be
They
a
can scare ya.
spoiler in a
can
lot
scare
of
ya,
different
yeah.
events.
Here's the Turtles right here on the line. But
You think about what Spencerport's done in 3-man, right?
definitely a threat in 3-man. Outside shot in B ladder. They've ran a couple good C-hose shots this year as well. 837 B-hose top of the year. Motor pump. It's a big pump track, like I said earlier. 610 got you nothing here back in 2006.
Oh, I remember I think they were 5th place that time, right? He comes around the side,
599.
and I think he hit the target from the back wheel. That thing, he put it in the street way before the line.
Yeah, that 06 drill, 599 tied for 5th with Spencerport.
Imagine
Yeah.
you run a
Yeah.
599, get a half a point.
Yeah,
You've
great.
only had, listen, in the history of this track, you've had 9 5s run in motor pump. So not a lot. It could be done, and it's pretty wild. West Sable's got the 562 in 06. The next best shot ever in 18 was Lindenhurst running a 581. So almost a 2/10 difference.
Yep.
Guys, the one thing I think about with Spencerport, as apparently I just came over to the truck, we are currently upside down on the screen. Just to let everybody who's watching at home know, we are not actually upside down. Oh, it just flipped. Okay, we're back.
Hey.
Weird. We're gonna try to fix that. All right, so we'll work on that, everybody. Yeah, me neither.
We're in the
but
valley.
Okay, cool. But anyway, but with Spencerport, the thing that jumps out the most to me,
Josh Marshall.
Josh Marshall,
That's all
obviously,
about
a huge pickup for them. But Josh Marshall, if you remember, has some unfinished business on this track. In
Oh.
B-Ladder 2018, a first-place shot taken away from him with a very questionable no-time call with a failure to grasp and hold. You guys remember?
Oh, I remember.
He-
I know Josh remembers.
He didn't argue very much, so I think he knew.
Oh, I listen. That one, Paulie. I make fun of Paulie's calls a lot of time for the emotion, but the emotion was the correct emotion in that run because that was a rip-off. I'm sorry, in my opinion, that was a tough call to make. He was grabbed for quite a while before he dropped.
I looked at my watch. I thought he had it.
And that was a 5-point run. So like I said, Josh has something to prove on this track. And this team has something to prove. Last year, it was nice to get them back in the mix.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've had a couple down years where they haven't been attending
They can
drills.
run.
They have a group of guys now. If they keep that group together, obviously they're showing improvements. This is a great stepping stone for them. Maybe not top 5, but spoiler and proving to themselves, hey, we belong with the group.
Before you go any further, 644, 560, 956, 837, 638 motor pump, and a 1251 in C-Hose.
That's a good slash line. You're there. That's a good
you're
slash
in,
line.
You're in the mix.
100%. Now, when I think of the next team, you go to Kopeg. I think Kopeg's a similar situation as Spencerport is. Kopeg can score in many events. I don't know if they can get to maybe 10 points and be in the top 5, but they're a spoiler as well.
Here we go.
I like it.
Wow, that thing's running nice. That's the Miller Place truck just coming through.
I think
Dialing that
if you're
thing
going to
in.
see Kopeg have an impact, it's going to be in the first few contests, right? We've got a 689, a 562, and 943, 1328, and Seahose, right?
Yeah.
So we know they can put it all together. But with a weapon like Chris Brand in the game, you definitely can have an impact, without a doubt.
Yeah, they definitely have that lead athlete that can, help carry them. He's just going to have to step it up and be ready to go.
With a shocking amount of experience. Chris has been running for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And listen,
And he
all the
just,
time.
it's not his fault. He looks like he's 22 years old.
well,
but-
he's the one guy that hasn't left Kopeg
right.
Not yet.
for greener for greener pictures.
Go
But
the Ironman. And you know what? They just came back. They won the Quidditch title last week
Jesus.
at the
Nice
at
job.
New York State. Good job.
Congratulations, Kopeg.
Congratulations. One thing that kills Kopeg through the years, it's always been a manpower issue. This year they've been short all year. Everybody, like even the guy behind the grill, has to get on there and run motor pump. That's how they put it together. And
Yeah.
always good to see Kopeg out there, and they put out a respectable, competitive team every year, no matter what they do.
Rounding out the top 10 is the Bayshore Redskins. To me, maybe the most improved team the entire year. If you start from day one and go to where you are right now, the change in nozzle paid off for them. And I believe if they can score in B or C hose and hit 2 of the last 3, which they've classically good at for the last 3 or 4 years, I think they have an outside chance at the top 5.
All right, let's talk about slash lines. Ready? 661, 570, 971, 1293, 795, 929, 2188. Again, another very productive slash line.
And the best part of that slash line is they're all done in the last 2 tournaments.
Right.
Great point, Bill.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The improvement has been pretty impressive when you think about where they've come from in the beginning of the year. Now, to me, one team that wishes they were running in the back would be the Bayshore Redskins. I think up in the front doesn't benefit them. It's not going to affect them, but I think running in the back might have been a little bit better for them because they're a team that will take advantage of teams that miss. You know, they're going to run their run. They can take advantage of them. I'm talking about the team that's running out there right now this year. That in the last couple drills seems like what's going on. But to me, I think they got a shot at top 5.
They remind me of the 2018 team that won where they came in. You knew they were running well, and they were starting to put it together, but they weren't on anyone's radar. You're the only person I knew that picked them to win.
Homer.
Harry did.
Homer.
Of course. May the best team win and let it be Bayshore.
I hope it's the Redskins.
Yep.
Come on, get the quote right at least.
Okay. So
That was like when you think about storybook endings, it's hard to find a bigger storybook ending than that drill right there. From Motor Pump, not having the C truck, running with Linear C truck, Harry Penny here, the whole thing was like it was meant to be that the ending was like that. You know.
It's the number one state drill finish in the
Yeah.
2000s, according to this year's preseason show.
is Harry going to make an appearance?
I believe he is. I hear
Great.
he's coming into town.
Awesome.
I know he's an honorary chief judge for the drill. So I'm expecting him to be here and see him, and maybe he'll give another one of those Marys.
And he lives not too far away, right?
That's a couple hours.
Yeah, but closer than we are.
Not the way I drove.
Before we jump back in, we want to give a quick shout out for the Wildcat Survivor Racing Pool.
Or Washington.
This year, the 50% of the proceeds go to the Fazzy Fireman's Home in memory of our friend Billy Moon. So make sure you get your pick in. On Saturday, you will be able to get your pick in at the beginning of the drill, right at the base of, right behind the broadcast trailer, near the arch, near the entrance for the stands. So if you're listening now and you haven't put your pick in, you'll be able to rush the gate at the very last minute. You can also reach out by contacting them on Venmo at Wildcat ASSOC. Wildcat ASSOC. That's one word there. And or hit us up on the socials if you're listening from distance and you want to get in the mix. We'll figure out a way to get you in there. Okay, so that's the Wildcat Survivor Racing Pool.
I was
that
still.
ends at the national anthem, by the way. So make sure you get your pools in before then.
That's right.
Over under on the length of the national anthem.
Under. I was
How do
still
you give you a
in.
number? How do you pick an under?
I want Little Richard to do it like he did that.
Whatever number you
Miracle
give,
Alaska
make
movie.
it under.
You would. You would.
It would-
Anyway.
What if they do the pledge? Is that all the money got to go
Oh, how
back?
does that work? Who's got the
We're
inside?
going to do the pledge instead.
So we're just leaving the top 10 teams on the scorecard. We're going to go to number 11.
And it gets
number
tougher again.
11. And I mean, we're throwing good
murderer's row
teams.
right here.
It is a murderer's row. You're right. You nailed it.
Top 15 are
I mean,
awesome right here.
I would say going into this drill, they have to be the odds-on favorite. When I put together the fab this time, the top 6 teams out of everybody that submitted were identical. Everybody had CI number 1, Islip 2, West Sable 3, North Lindy 4. They were identical except for 1 5-6 switch. Went right through Point and North Belmore. But that just shows you that the CI is the odds-on favorite, if you ask me, coming into this drill. Second half of the year, they've been the best team, the most consistent team. And they're winning some of these tournaments running 1 less race because they didn't have a truck, maybe 2 less races.
If I was CI, I'd buy the shirts right now and just get the hats ready.
They might have.
Get the banner printed. Sure. It's done. Lock it in.
Print up the plaques.
This guys, they won 3 of the last 4 drills.
On fire.
They're running some of their best times of the year at the right time of the year. And they can win every contest. They can win all 8. And we've just seen, we've seen them break state records. They've run the contest. They've run historically well, like efficiency. They're just crushing that contest.
If you're watching at home,
Wow.
we almost.
Point Pleasant.
If you're
carrying out
watching-
at speed, they almost knocked us off the arch.
If you're watching at home, we almost had to mutual aid in Rich Cotty to fix the roof.
I thought we were in Central Islip. The
I know. Holy cow. Think about it.
Beat you to the joke.
We're talking about Central Islip.
here we-
That didn't blow the roof off. That's a sign.
And they raised the roof.
That's a sign.
I don't know.
is.
Paul, you mentioned it. I don't even think we got to go through their slash line.
No, not at all.
What?
How many times do they have of the year? We got a state record of 502, 622, 797, 1257, 869 efficiency, 605 pump, 2143, 2165.
I don't think we're out of the woods here, boys.
Wow. That's a slash line and a half. Compare with that. And we got a
That's-
2x4 smashing us from behind.
I'm
Whose
ready.
idea that was to
Hey,
tie that
Steve,
thing
if
to?
if you're listening in the truck, come on up and
This
cut
is-
this
this-
2x4 out
this is
before
gonna
it
whack us all.
decapitates me.
This is like an 8-second ride.
The one thing you mentioned, Paul, that could have a real impact on the hobos is the truck. Okay, their equipment has not been super consistent, and that could have a huge impact on the team that could produce. The other thing I'll say is Eric Miller running third man for years. Iceman in his vein, ice in his veins, came out here and produced every single New York State drill morning. They moved Richie Arnett back to the third man spot. That's a new spot for him now. So we'll see how he's able to produce on the biggest day of the
Well,
year.
he's been producing pretty well up to this point. I'll
Amen.
say that. One of the bigger questions is, as Bayshore comes down with the C truck,
Little hop, skip, and a jump out of the hydrant there, right?
one of the bigger questions to me is,
Hey, Artie and Steve, come cut this 2x4 off before we go to
I
the
got it, I
emergency
got it.
room.
Oh,
There we
oh.
go. All right, fine.
got it.
That'll be
Real-
fine.
will
Got the
CI
real
score in
man
all
that
8?
muscles.
Will they score in all 8? First of all, will they run all 8?
Yeah.
They haven't done that in a couple of weeks, but will
That's
they
even money
score?
right now, yeah.
Will they score in all 8? I mean,
It is possible. And listen,
What?
Central Islip Hobos 2014 scored in 7 out of 8 contests. The 8th not to be mentioned, not to be named. But otherwise, this team came real close to completing that achievement. Real close.
Has a team scored in all 8 in a state drill?
I mean,
That's
that,
a question. I don't have, I'm asking. I don't have the answer.
Islip had to be close that one year. Islip killed it that one year when they won by efficiency or whatever. That would have been pretty close. Did score in all 8?
Pump, didn't they?
Pazzo says no.
No?
Didn't get all 8. They missed
Oh,
the
yeah, huh?
Oh, because they
It was
already
already
won.
over.
That's
They
right.
would drink it for 2 hours.
They were
won.
drinking after efficiency.
Izo was drinking, orange crisp cooler, whatever he's got in his
They
hand.
put the vets on the track there just to get them some playing time, Get them a varsity
talk about
life for the
Todd
day,
like
you
that.
know.
All right,
All
anyway.
right, so we talked about CI. They're the preeminent team coming out here.
And we're gonna talk about
To
them
me-
on Saturday,
To
so.
me, the team to beat. Now, the next team is another one of those top 4 that's been there all year long.
And they're
top
peaking.
5, and they've gotten better. You're right, Billy. They've peaked maybe at the right time, finally hitting the ladder contest, which have been off for them all year, Northland and Hearst. To me, they got to hit big in B and C hose, and they got to get some points. How many points do you think they need out of ladders to be competitive and maybe win this drill? I don't know if they can win it the way they've been running all year.
I think the improvement in ladder, if they can score, and You know, they really stepped it up in buckets, something we've known they can run for a while. They just haven't really shown it to us this year, but buckets was the contest that really kind of exploded to me in Hempstead. You know, the 20 and the 21s. You know, we hadn't seen much of that all year, and then bang, all of a sudden there it is.
I think these guys are so dangerous. So dangerous, okay? Last year, they're racing for the three-peat, okay? The pressure on that team for the three-peat is as strong as it would be winning that first state championship, right? It's a lot easier to go from 1 to 2 than it is from 2 to 3, in my opinion. You put that pressure back on yourself knowing that this is probably your only opportunity to accomplish that goal, right? They no longer have that pressure. This team comes into Saturday, they look at that, they look at the Fab 14, they go, we're an afterthought. And that's how I would think, that's how I'd talk to everybody in camp that morning. I'd say, guys, they don't think we're coming. Right?
Well,
and this team with these veterans who have done this over and over and over again, and here they are right on the edge.
Well, they're
This machine moving nice there.
yeah, they're an afterthought for a reason based on what's happened all year long.
Right.
At any time, we know they're dangerous. Do they have it in them to give it one more shot? Could this be the last shot at it? You know, hey, to me, they're the core four. They're one of those core four all year long. To me, that means danger. Can they put it together on this day? I think it would be monumental, if you ask me.
I think, Bill,
They'd have to score in a lot of races, and they
Listen,
got to get some 5s and 4s.
if they sneak a point, first and foremost, they sneak a point out of three-man.
Three-man.
Okay? But if all of a sudden, Kevin Fowler Spacey, what was it again? Kevin Fowler.
Spacey.
Right.
He gets that gleam in his eye, and we see that guy who did what he did for the last 4 years, and he comes down here and he squeezes out that 529 out of nowhere. Look out, people. Look out, because Northland Nurse is here to make a point.
Yeah,
Chris Connell was waiting in the wings on the hydrant. Their slash line, the top 4 of the top shots there, all ladders and buckets, all run at Hempstead last week.
No, yeah, you're right. They're hitting it at the right time.
And a 12:35 as well. They did 12:24 earlier. But
Oh, that's the best
they
time
are
in
on
12
fire
years.
Right now.
Best CO's time in 12 years.
They are the best hose team, period.
Yep.
And they need those 10 points.
Right.
They really do.
To win this drill, I believe you're right.
Yes.
But listen, they can run the last 5 just like everybody. It's their day has to start early.
Yes.
For them to play catch up by a lot,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
I
happening.
agree. And they don't have to be leading.
No, not at all.
But to come out of if you're folks, if you're at home and you look at that top 5 going into the water test, and North Lindy's sitting there with a sneaky 6 points in 4th place, guess what? I want my card back.
Well, that's right. If they're within one race, if they're within 5 points going to C-Hose, then we got a whole nother game.
this is going to be a fun one.
All right, so the next team is West Islip, running number 13. Maybe B-Hose could be their best opportunity to score 2. I saw the C-Truck on the trailer. I don't know if they're running it.
C-Truck's going to be out. Talked to Justin
Oh, yeah?
yesterday. Yeah.
All right. So, hey, a point or a bunch of completions where they're really happy with the run, to me, is a positive for West Islip. When you're a really young team and you're just trying to grow, these state tournaments are about getting it done and not having a lot of letters on your scorecard and moving forward, and we'll improve on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see these guys run a 9 in efficiency. I think that would be a huge statement for them to do it on the biggest stage. I think that would be really impressive because that's their best contest. That's the one I'd like to see them producing.
You watch them at Central Islip. They put a 29.70 up in buckets, and they were happy.
Oh, yeah, they were
very happy
thrilled.
because it took 4 seconds off the best time of the year, and they've been getting better at that. And like you say, Paul, you want to put up times. They were 5 out of 6 at Central Islip. They had a happy day, and it was you got to make progress.
Listen, you give me 12 professional athletes and you hand them 12 buckets, they can't run a 30.
Nope.
Okay? They can't. It's not possible. So in order to run under 30, you have to put in that time and effort. So good to them for being proud of that achievement.
Real happy.
I think in the 1800s and early 1900s, a lot of guys were professional athletes.
They were also using the buckets to put the fires out. They were a little bit more, comfortable with the equipment.
I don't even think a lot of them were in the fire department. They would just come down for the race.
How much did you make back then,
From
Paul?
what I was reading,
How much did you get, Paul?
I was a millionaire.
Yeah.
So then we go to Baldwin. I don't know if Baldwin's here. They haven't raced a lot this year, but to me, very similar outlook as West Islip. If you're looking at Baldwin, they've got to try to do the same thing.
Here's that Spencer Ford truck. Look at this thing. Moves. It's quiet. It's deceiving, but it gets there in a hurry. It's got that Formula One nose on it. I mean, that thing looks really cool.
I got to be honest. When I was making C trucks out of Legos, I was always building them with the little Formula One front, man, with the Spencer
I
Ford,
love that look.
with the little wedges on the back.
Yeah.
You know.
Little shout out to Woody right in the back there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Bowman, is that John Cochran over there? And
I would
you know,
take-
He's been trying to get it out there, get it done. They've been going through some struggles.
I would take my Hot Wheels Corvette and turn it around
Yeah.
and rip off the hood.
Nice.
the backwards Corvette.
All right, so now that's going to bring us to a big one.
Let's get to the
The next
Nassau
team on
stop
the
team.
list. Does Nassau have a team that can come in the top 5 this year?
you
Is
kidding?
North Belmore the team from Nassau that can compete in the top 5 and maybe have an outside chance top 3, or shall we say the top of the mountain?
Did they spoil the Suffolk County SummerSlam?
Could they? Right? Well, you said it last week, Billy. For the last 6 race drills,
Oh, crap.
they have scored in B and C ladder in each drill. That's impressive in
Yeah.
itself.
That is
This
really
supposed to be there,
impressive.
yeah.
That talk about consistency.
No, they have a point in every single drill this year in BNC ladder. That
was
right,
Russian.
Bill? Right?
What's that?
They have a
So-
point
so
in every single
Yes.
contest in BNC
They
ladder.
have a streak
It's
going back
unbelievable.
to 2022, going all the way back to Labor Day of last year, where they scored all motorized ladders till today. So that's a streak. I don't know if it compares to anybody
And
else.
according to Pat, they were state champs this week at practice as well.
Yeah,
They're another
yeah,
team
that
that
was
was
great.
state champs this
I
week
like,
at practice.
I like what Pat was smoking because in his mind,
He had high hopes.
in his mind, he can get he
To
sees
me-
a way.
to me,
and they come out of here with
and
the cup.
Rob, you tell me what you think about this. I think somehow they will have to find a way to score in at least 3 of the last 5 races.
Yes, and I know they've had some injuries and some guys aren't 100%. As we watch the hobos come by and do a little sea ladder shot, but yeah, they're going to have to find a couple of points later in the day. And yep, like I said, with the injuries they've had, and even coming from their own membership, telling us, some of the struggles they've had, they're going to need a little help.
Yeah, but you had with Sean Corcoran retiring after this year, and 15-year team leader, for them to be able to put players together who have produced. The Whites have all kind of stepped into the game and have really had a huge impact. But the roll cage coming down. But the number one thing to me that I think North Belmore could really pull off here is they could take some of that big-time hardware out of Sea Ladder, right? They could run. They've ran a 916, 905, 906. They could take 5 in Sea Ladder based on how this drill is raced. And they, oh, hey, how you doing?
Oh, I love those.
Oh, I mean,
Those are tasty.
we weren't supposed to be drinking, but
Those are
Gary
tasty.
Sr.
Hey,
brings
it's
up.
happy hour, guys.
Those are
Come on.
tasty.
That, I have never had one.
Oh, they're good.
It's from Gary. I feel like it would be disrespectful
It
to
would
not.
totally be
They're
disrespectful.
not open, right?
They're good. No,
Yeah,
not
we
open.
got to take a look.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, but like I
Right
said,
here, guys. Why not?
I think the thing with the rinky dinks is
That sound never gets
it's
old.
got to be done before buckets.
What time is it?
It's happy hour.
It's millet time.
They got to get done before buckets
It's Utica Club time.
because they don't have a shot in buckets to place it with a top six, seven
Billy, I
teams.
don't know about that. I mean, I know they put Pat Ryan. They took Pat Cloudman out
they
at the
switched
bottom,
it up, yeah,
and they put
so-
Pat Ryan back in. Pat's a talented racer. He's a veteran guy. I wouldn't be shocked if they could put it in the 22s. Now, could they do it if they needed it? That's debatable.
Is
But
it 22 even got to score on the board?
oh, bro, if a 22 doesn't score, it's the greatest buckets day in history.
Well, no.
Hemp said last week was
We
a
came
pretty
in
good
5th with a
tournament.
21. We came in 5th with a 21.
You came in 5th in a 21 with when it took
No.
one less bucket.
No,
to
with
fill.
a 21.
We ran a 21-8
No.
and got nothing here.
Oh,
Every in
Stop,
transit.
stop talking about buckets before 2018 and buckets after 18 like they have the same thing.
Oh, they
okay?
are.
He
They are the same
cannot.
thing.
He cannot.
They are the same thing,
He
aren't
can't
they?
get over that they retired the record.
Well, what? Wait,
you're in the book
your
forever,
records,
Chris.
your records count, but the 1968 doesn't count. Is that what you're telling me?
It's in the book forever.
Forever, Chris.
It's in the
What
book
does that
forever.
mean? So who cares?
You
Those
joined-
hand time records.
You
who
joined my
cares?
father in the book forever, Chris.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here's the
Is Westbury?
termites.
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 With some turtles on the back.
So
There they go.
before we leave North Belmore, you got to give Joe Corcoran a whole hell of a lot of credit.
Wow.
He can climb ladders that are just. And let me tell you about and one more thing, the diggers. The entire ladder team. I don't know if anybody consistently gets as hot drops as
Crazy
they're
drops.
getting
Crazy
off the
drops.
back of
And they
that
do
fucking
something
ladders.
with it too. I mean, listen, anybody can get dropped hot and get spilled down the track. These guys are
Borderline,
actually
they're
manufacturing points out of.
Right, they're borderline and they're doing it.
I'm sure we all saw that shot in the the still shot that they took of them at Sea Ladder back at their tournament in North Belmore. No one's on the ladder. Joey's the only guy on it. He's halfway up. His hands aren't even on the ladder, and he's still climbing.
Yep.
Finishes the run with a 9:27. Gets 3 points out of it.
Awesome.
That was crazy.
And that's my point before that I was making, is that if Mike Boland gives them a drop, those guys are manufacturing points out of crap.
Yes.
Okay, no offense, Mike, but that's
No,
not the
true.
drop he wants to give them either. If he gives them the drop that he wants to give them, that's an 8.
Dude,
and they're in the game.
The one time when
to
he
win the contest.
The one time when he dropped him out a little bit and he climbed that real nice ladder, I'm like, man, they gotta keep that right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, back-to-back 905, 906 for those guys. And 7 drills in a row, they placed in both motorized ladders.
He's right up there, one of my favorite climbers to watch. When he gets on the ladder, I just love the determination. You could just see it. It's so much fun to watch.
I agree.
He's light on the ladder too. You don't hear his steps. He's not smashing that ladder. He's there before you know
And
it.
he's not a small child. He's a big boy too.
Yeah.
All right.
But they run that 8. I mean, talk about a testament.
Tight drop there for Miller Place.
a testament to the North Belmore Rinky Dinks if they're able to come down here and maybe win Sea Ladder. How impressive that would be for them to be able to pull that off and to take just that hardware home alone, because make no mistake, Sea Ladder might be one of the contests with the most trophies to win, right? To be able to bring that hardware home alone would be a great achievement for that team.
Yeah, and I still think Nassau's best chance of coming down track top 5 is still North Belmore Rinky Dinks.
There you go.
I just don't know if they got it to be number 1. I don't know if they have enough races in the quiver to be able to do it. All right, we're going to go next to the Lindenhurst Snails. Lindenhurst not having the best year, all right? A lot of new guys, but to me can be a spoiler and can score in a few races.
Yeah, they've definitely shown us some things in the hose contests. They've got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of experience on their team.
Listen, a brand new driver breaking in, a team's always going to struggle with that, and I give a lot of credit to the guys who are sticking it out on the back step, right? With Whammo, it's first year driving.
Whammo's done pretty well.
He's done a great job, right? And Brendan Sullivan is a really good hydroman. He's a really good hydroman. And the last step for Brendan is that veteran experience. That's the final piece of being able to do this on the big stage. Watch him tomorrow to see how he performs, because the Lindenhurst Snails will someday go the way Brendan goes.
True that. Next up, Miller Place. Now, we talked about Miller Place earlier in the year. It seems like they started a little bit, right, after Lindenhurst, Miller Place?
Yeah, okay.
We did Lindy. Yeah, you're on the phone.
I was just
We're broadcasting, my
Put your
friend.
phones away, please.
We
Guys,
did
at the table.
We did West Hempstead?
At the kitchen table, please put
West
your phones
Hempstead?
away.
Where's West Hempstead?
Aren't they right there for North Belmore?
Are they? Did I miss them on my list?
Carry them 2.
Yeah, I believe so.
What numbers?
We have a murderer's row, and you just blowing teams off.
Let's do Miller Place, then we'll do West Hempstead. Miller Place. We
got a scorecard.
We talked about
Hang on,
it
look it
earlier.
up.
I know. I
I don't have the
missed them
scorecard
all.
on me.
I have it here.
This is what I wrote down that you gave me that first day.
Hold up.
Yeah, they're after North Belmont.
All right.
We'll get back to them. So Miller Place, can
Afterthought,
they
West
score in their first state tournament ever is one of them. And
That would be the
I don't
95th team
know.
ever.
I don't know if they have enough races to be top 5. To me, they are a spoiler team. But also, if they can score in their first state drill in more than one contest, to me, that's a win.
Hang on. So let's give Twan, who will be hopefully watching this tomorrow. Actually, he'll be here by then. But let's give Twan credit. He sat down. He went and counted every team who's ever scored in a state drill. Is 94 teams. Okay, and that would be achievement unlocked for the Miller Place Extinguishers, who have never scored in the motorized state drill. If they do that Saturday, that'd be the first time in the 95th team ever. That's an impressive.
And I think it's the longest stretch between teams being the first team ever.
Being another new one. That's pretty cool. Let's see CI coming down the track here. I just realized people don't get off. It's like the 50th round. He didn't get off.
But you know what's so crazy about this is when you saw it right there. When two guys don't get off,
It's weirder.
Difference in the truck.
and you gas it out of the hydrant,
It's weirder.
the front wheels aren't on the ground for the first 100 feet.
Yeah, you're right.
The front left tire didn't even move when it came out of that.
because
No, you're
you
right.
still got that weight on the truck.
Right, you're not
And
usually running like that.
It's dangerous.
Good point. And it's dry.
Yeah.
So you're not losing traction.
It's grabbing and you're pulling wheelies. There's a lot of people where those front tires aren't rotating.
Yes, let's get
Billy,
back to
slash line for Miller Place.
So Miller Place, we go 678, 576, Beeline 969, 1286 team record. So 576, 969 in the ladders and 1286, all team records for the extinguishers. Farmville comes by, oh, square. 818 B-hose, 927 efficiency, 672 pump, and a nice 2249 last week to close up the Hempstead tournament.
Maybe the most impressive run they had all year.
Yeah.
The bucket run at a 22-4.
And the C-hose shot was good too.
And the B-hose shot early in the year was really good too.
Yeah.
I mean, they can score.
That
To me,
22-49 is a
That's-
traditional 21-3,
right there.
21-4 back in the old
then-
olden era.
All right, so then what was West Sable's 2060?
It's a 19.
A 19 what?
Oh no, they filled an 11.
All right, so what?
Yeah.
Wait.
It rarely happens.
So did they
11 plus?
So they would have
but-
filled in 10 plus?
No.
Wait a second. You
No,
can't.
no.
You can't have it both ways.
Yes, you can. Yes, you
How
can.
do you have it both ways?
Because
What was
So
your number?
a 22 is a 21, but a 20 is not a low net 19.
hang on. Can I feel like I'm talking to my ex-wife right now.
Doesn't talk to myself. Well,
Let me finish, Amy. All right, let me finish.
You're gonna lose here as well.
Hey, Rich County's right over there.
Oh yeah, well, listen, I lost that one too.
Go ahead.
Listen, the consistency of 11s. That's the question here, okay? 11, we've proven, West Sable proved the other day that 11 is possible,
And
okay?
11.
But,
if
like,
you,
it's
if we
like
do,
the 12th one, the 2 times we've done it this year, or the 3 times, like that 12th one is just like flipped over.
Yeah.
The water hasn't hit the barrel
but let's
yet.
say we've taken
it's coming
100.
up,
Let's say
yeah.
across the state, we've taken 100 runs of buckets just for numbers' sake, okay?
He don't
We used
wanna-
to fill
he
an
doesn't wanna do
11.
this, does he?
We used to fill an 11 in 40 or 50 out of those runs. We fill an 11 in 2 runs now. That's a huge difference in how hard it is to fill the barrel with 45 gallons.
Well, I'll tell you what. Both of these barrels we're going to be running with tomorrow are aggressive. They're not the can over. They're nailing it right on the 45th gallon.
Yeah. Okay.
They're on it.
Who's
So
we using? Upstate?
Why don't we go down a can?
what?
Let's go down a can.
Well, basically it is. It's that last can. No, you took a can out and poured it in, and it's not getting to the bottom of the can. You're not getting a 45. It's there.
Okay.
And it's like the last few drops. So aggressive barrels tomorrow, which hopefully sets up for a great ending. Yeah, that's what you're
we
hoping for. So Miller Place, I would hate to see if they come in here and improve on a 22-4 but don't get any points. It's
because
a big
everybody else
possibility.
pinged in 11. Yeah.
It's a big possibility.
Okay.
42-4 was fifth
So, all right,
place
so
last
let's go
week,
back to West Hempstead. West Hempstead, the Young Bucks this year coming out, running, for the beginning of the year, you saw how they had to learn to race a little bit, right? They had to get inside their own heads, maybe slow it down a hair to be able to do what they do. But the second half of the year, I thought they've shown a little bit improvement. I mean, I don't know if the scorecard shows it, but
It's
you
uneven.
can see it.
Very uneven.
I don't know if it's enough races to be top 5, but I think they're on their way. You know what I'm saying? On their way.
It's what you'd expect out of a young team. Inconsistency.
Yeah.
But improvement.
I think-
When they're finishing contests now, usually it's better than what they've run previously.
They're very similar to Miller Place, where
Yeah.
they're all over the place. You look at their slash line; it starts at Lindenhurst, it goes all the way down to the bottom, it's spread out all across the board. They haven't gotten better like say Lindenhurst, North Lindenhurst, where we see that their last 2 drills, their top 8 teams times the last 2 weeks. These guys have had it all spread out from day 1 to the end, so it's coming.
But you know what you have
it's
to
a
add
long
in,
way to go.
You know what you have to add into the Westerner mix is they're being taught properly and the right way to race.
I have to say,
and it makes a big difference.
This
They
is
suck
a
to 'em.
young group of guys. I don't think I've ever seen this much progress from a team that you
Right.
more or less wipe out the back step, put everybody back in. Cody Maurer ran Nozzle for the last couple of years. He's got a little more experience, but most of the guys are just young dudes. They're buddied up, and that's a scary thing for the future of the sport. But for these guys to be producing at the level they are right now, with all of these brand new guys, that's a testament to the team, testament to the coaches. It's a testament to Kenny Brown behind the wheel. And I think that they have a real chance to make a lot of noise. Their day probably is affected very much by how they do in 3-man ladder. Joe Martirano is running incredible numbers in practice. If they run that shot, they could do much more and possibly even a top 5 finish.
Oh wow,
I
I
don't
think
give them that much, but
I don't know if that's in their cards. But hey,
okay.
listen, anything can happen. But I don't know if they have enough races in them to do it. Can they be a spoiler? Absolutely. Can they score points that in the beginning of the year that maybe they didn't think they were going to be able to do? Yeah. Can they be in top 5? I don't know. It'd be unbelievable. if they are.
I think
Talk
they're
about growth.
better. I think they're better at buckets than they appear on this history.
The guy can fill the barrel.
Yes.
The guy can fill the barrel. Sitting up there watching it.
Learned very well from Ralph.
All right, so
Ralph Dickel gave him showdown.
how about next up, Port Washington? Now, when I think about Port Washington in the combination with Manhasset, they could be the oldest team on the track, right, at this point?
And I think old history with these teams. I mean, these teams, we watched Manhasset years ago, second place. Port Washington, last Nassau team to place in the top 5. It was back with Kyle Lewis and
That's
those
right.
guys.
Yep.
2018, the
Yep.
last time we were here, they took third place with 12 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
And,
To me, the thing that I love about the Port Washington
They're out here.
Manhasset merger is this is a for the love of the game group here, right? These are guys who are out here because they love this thing.
Mike Ward.
Right, and they were able to find a group of guys who put it all together and get a consistent team out on the course all year, right? They've been running 4 drills. They've been able to put times up throughout those drills. I'm proud to see these guys out on the track still making it happen and keeping the flame alive.
And don't forget Albertson. They've got 4 young guys out there. Billy Clark and his son doing the job out there. We've got all sorts of good people. And like I said, Mike Ward.
Yeah, you're right.
I'll
I'm
tell
sorry,
you,
and
still hooking
Albertson
up motor
too as well.
pump. Yeah, Albertson's doing a nice job.
Yep.
Without them, they're not on the track.
Yeah, and
100%,
a lot,
you're
a
right.
lot of the passion and the youth part of this equation from that team is coming from Albertson right now.
Yes. Agreed. All right, what's up? Carl Place to be next on the scorecard.
Carl Place, just not the year we expected.
No, I thought, well, you know what? Maybe it's been a little misfortune here and there.
Yeah.
It doesn't, to me, when you think of Carl Place, you would think in BNC Hose, right? That's where they would be getting it done. But it's been a desert up top. They're just not getting any water. It's been dry up there all year long. I mean, they got to be frustrated with it.
Well, it was too bad they took a tumble at the Central Islip invite, and Shoes McLaughlin got hurt, and he's out for the season, which he's really one of their linchpins. He runs 7 or 8 events for him. He does everything for those guys, and without him, that really takes away what they had in store for the year.
Are they able to run ladder? Or I know they haven't run the last 2 drills, but we're going to see them running ladder on Saturday.
They're going to run tomorrow. They're going to have Beretta climb. It's a new diggers. They haven't had very much practice, but they're going to give it a go.
And listen, the number one thing that jumps out to me, they have competitive 3-man ladder times, right? 689, 659, 683, 683. Depending on how 3-man goes, it's been hit or miss. It's a great year so far this year, but they could sneak in for a couple of points. So I'm sure that they're hopeful for that.
Yeah, the only problem with 3-man is the 3rd man, Julian Alfreda, back to college.
No.
Yeah, so they're going to make it happen.
Where does he go to college? Anybody? Do you know?
He's already gone. He's
What's
been
wrong?
already-
What's wrong with these colleges?
Yeah, who starts before the state tournament? Come on.
It should be part of the schedule, right?
Illegal.
Orientation the day after the state tournament.
Unless you're at the military academy or you're playing Division I football.
You can't miss freshman English. Come on. All right, next up, Patchogue. Now, word on the street is Patchogue's been having the sea truck out there a little bit, right? Are they bringing it this weekend? I don't think they are, but I haven't heard. Can they score? I mean, we've seen improvement from Patchogue as well. B-hose, pump, buckets. Can they throw a point or two in the mix?
652 in pump at the County in Riverhead, which is, I think, similar in a pump track to this. So they can throw a pump shot up. But like I said, again, they had to change some people around. I was talking to Mike Pinckney 2 days ago, and I don't think they got it in them. They lost Alex. I'm sorry. Lost one of the big guys. Tyler Brown were not here. So.
Yeah,
But hey,
Too bad.
listen, 943, 652, still their big times for the year in efficiency and motor pump. They could sneak
If
those.
Charlie could stop a truck like that with a ladder tomorrow and give Chris Brandt a shot,
Right there.
we'd love to see that.
Right there. Give him a
Instead of giving him a
shot.
straight ladder. I want to see. I
Absolutely.
want to see Chris Brandt with.
Did you see the
with a
2
ladder.
tires though? It came in with like Columbo. One was like,
Winking at you.
right, Peter Falk.
That is perfect.
Is that truck?
not like that. Like
Is that truck winking at me?
Having to change
Saranac
both of
Brewery
us.
tonight. See me, Saranac. Meet me there.
having to change
Sea truck.
any positions the week of the state drill is like a team's worst nightmare. It's just it's not
terrible.
anything you want to do when you're trying to be consistent. That doesn't help it.
I agree.
Yeah, next up, Main Transit. Main Transit scored in a lot of state drills over the years. Buckets for a long time was a big race for them. I don't know about this year. We talked about Ricky running hydrant there.
Yeah.
It's good to see them out here. They're going to put in the effort, but I don't know if I see the points in their future or top 5 to me would be a huge long shot.
Hey, 647 motor pump.
Couple
647 motor pump. So I know that's probably what they're going to hang their hopes on, right?
Sienna got a chance. Hey,
Yeah.
you got a shot. Hook the water up and take a shot at target. A couple 26s of buckets as well for these guys.
Yep.
Now, next up is going to be the Hicksville Hicks. Good history on this track. Hicksville's gotten some good numbers and a lot of points. If you go to the history of the Deerfield State Drills, Hicksville's done better than you think.
First place here, right?
What?
They had a first place here?
Second place. Second
Yeah,
place
second
in B ladder, right?
was it.
On a tough ladder too. I don't know if you remember. It was pretty vertical. You know.
Doug Chiz. Wow. What a beast.
And listen, Hicksville Hicks, racing for 95 years. 95 years as a drill team.
Yeah, they ran a 520 back in 2014.
Yeah,
I'm gonna jump in with
not only that. I tried to do this at one point to see how many years in a row was the most consistent team that ran in a state drill. Like, there's been years that people
Levittown's
miss
always
state
the most
drills all the
consistent.
time, right?
Levittown, because they've never come close to being good.
No, I don't mean it that way. I don't mean it that way. I mean it in terms of
Consistency.
no. I mean it in terms of attending.
Oh, okay.
And I think Hicksville, I going through state drills, maybe has been in attendance more consistently over the years without missing any than anybody else. But on this track itself, I mean, in all the years combined, they're top 5 in B ladder. I don't know if there's any others, but I know they've scored a ton of points here. So can they bring it? I know it's a new group, different guys. Doug Chill's still trying to get it done. I don't know if they could score or top 5.
Yeah, and I tell you, Doug Chuz always getting it done. He tell you last year had a bunch of 5s in B ladder. He started the year off with a couple to start the season, and it's been a struggle since then. They put a 606 up at Hempstead, and good luck tomorrow to the Hicks and represent 9th Battalion well. Next up we have
East Farm.
Farmingdale.
So if you look at East Farmingdale, you would say, okay, Seaho is maybe the best chance, maybe
Sure.
throw up a good number. They've had a couple opportunities this year. If he gets it on, hits the target, they're in good,
I tell you that the nozzle man, Big Mac Kilbridge, he does a good job of nailing that target.
Killbridge.
Yeah, he can hit the target.
He's been out for a couple of years, and you're right. He's got quick hands.
His hands are awesome.
Right? I would say that's probably their best shot. And one of the things that they come in with a benefit there is because they've got this vehicle that likes to race, right? That C-Truck can move.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you come in with that advantage, right, you're going to be right in the game, and then anything can happen after that. So I know that's probably where they're hanging their hopes.
And decent motor pump shot at the county tournament as well for these guys.
Yep.
All right, going forward, we have the North Merrick Stump Jumpers.
And nobody's better looking out there on the track than North Merrick. Right down.
West Hempstead took it away from
Oh
us
well,
this year with
they're
their Stanley
trying.
uniforms.
They're trying to take it over as best looking drill team out there, best appearing without the parade even happening.
I'll tell you one thing
But
about-
you have a big mountain to climb to take over from North Merrick. I mean, I believe it's right down to the socks.
I tell you one thing I know about North Merrick. The whole team is 5'6" tall, except for
Well, that's part of being uniform.
Yeah, you got to be consistent.
They only take 5 to 6 to 5'8".
Right.
except for T.J. McCauley
walking out.
and his son Terrence. They're like 6'6". The rest of the team is all 5'6". So
It's on a department application.
I think
That's right.
the mailman came to town.
They're all engine men. There we go.
They don't need an SDA. They need an SRA right there. President of the SDA right there. Charlie Fitz driving by with a Copeg Yellowbird truck. So North Merrick.
Segway.
Yeah, North Merrick, a little, little late start to the season. They had a couple of bang-ups in practice early in the preseason. Didn't get on the track till the county. They ran a nice shot in efficiency, 963, and a 597 at B ladder that day. And we all know that when AJ gets water from the hydrant and he's got to come in on the fly, he can bury that target. He scored a couple points here in the state tournament a couple years in a row. Got
Yeah.
them into the Joe a few years ago.
I
as
think
well.
you go to the history of North American efficiency's probably been their over the years, their opportunity to score points. In
The thing that impresses me the most about the sport right now, I mean, obviously it's been a great comeback in three-man ladder. Three-man ladder's reinvigorated. Buckets, there's a lot of depth in buckets, but the contest with the most depth is efficiency. And
it should be, right? When you
I mean,
think
yeah.
about it.
Listen,
Should be.
it's the original contest, right? Since 1886, we've been running 3 lengths, a hydrant, a flap, and a pendulum. That's how we do it, baby. And I don't know if the flap and the pendulum was there in 1886.
1883.
Who built that? You were there.
It's not a flap, it's a flag.
I'm sorry, the flag.
I
I
can't even get it
apologize.
right.
The
Flag and the
flag.
pendulum.
The flag and the pendulum. But my point being that North Merrick joins those teams who come into that race with an opportunity. And efficiency, more than any contest, is going to be a free-for-all. You okay?
Next up, Freeport. Freeport was really banged up. They didn't race in Hempstead, right? Because they were really banged up. I don't know what their story is coming into this week.
All right, they're coming in. I talked to T.J. Johnson from Freeport. the Red Devils. Good to have them back there last year. They came in out of nowhere last year through a 876 on the board. That was a pretty good shot.
That was a really good shot.
That thing really locks up. It makes a real good squeal. You definitely know when they're hitting the brakes at the hydrant.
True story.
They picked up Adam Katz from Baldwin over there. They got a couple of old-timers, Scott Donnelly driving for him. And let's see what they can do tomorrow.
All right, and that brings us to the Islip Wolves. Now, we've gone through a lot of teams in between the ones we said can have an opportunity to win this drill. And the one team in the back of the pack, pretty much standing alone. You got East Islip in there. You got Hagerman, Oyster Bay. We'll talk about them, South Hempstead. But the king of all those would be the Islip Wolves. Islip, first half of the year, to me, dominated. They were, defending champs, on their way, veteran team. And to me, maybe a little bit of a hiccup second half of the year. I don't know if it's so much of a hiccup as that CI just was doing really well. But they are one of the two teams that you have to have on your scorecard. When you fill out the Wildcat, you get to the end, and it says winner and points, winner, you're filling out Islip or CI most of the time.
So, Paul, I'm going to tell you something. If you call a hiccup finishing second twice in a row to Central Islip, that's a hiccup.
Well, it is because you didn't win. They're used to winning.
I'm just saying.
They're used to winning.
That's a hiccup I don't mind having. But I
Of
tell you,
course.
it's really something. Like I tell you with the Slash Lunch, other teams, they're spaced out all over. It doesn't matter because all those other times are so damn close. They're right there. It's got to be something. They're licking their chops. For once in the last 3 years, they're the last team to go. They've been having to throw the shot up first and have everyone else come get them. And they've been sitting on eggshells. Now it's their turn to play spoiler and put their shot up last and say, come get me.
If you look at their slash line, as you guys so called it, the thing that sticks out to me the most is buckets. Come out of the year with a 21.99.
Yeah.
And they haven't run better than a 24.38 since. Last couple of weeks, a 31.6 and a 27.4. Before that, a 29.6. We know they're a much better bucket team than that. They're going to need to be able to bring that if they want to win a state drill on Saturday.
Yeah, I think,
Absolutely.
personally, I think they need a lead going into buckets. If they're behind a little bit in buckets, I think it's going to be difficult for them just because what you're saying.
This is the same team, though, that has done it.
I'm not saying
Right?
they're not.
With a gun to their head, in a way that other teams have not. This is as veteran as you can be and still be the youthful and agile, right? At some point, you crest over until you get too old. You're more of a vet, but now you're an old man. These guys are young guys. They're everybody's 30.
Athletes.
Right, and they're all
Tons of athletes. Maybe
Josh is a little older than that, but like this group right here, Anthony Pizzo, 30 years old. He's the peak of health, but to me, tournament points is the thing that jumps out the most, right?
Yes, you do.
23, 31, 21, 21 and a half, 23, 19, 20. They've been in every single tournament. They've raced every single tournament. But if you look at their first three contests, which is always how they get started and was always the knock against Josh Case, and he had some inconsistencies earlier in his career, and he had a hard time finishing every run.
One slip in Hempstead, that's it. Otherwise,
Besides
solid
that, has basically run every single contest flawless.
Well,
And
fantastic.
they're one of the two teams that can win all 8 races.
Sure. Target
To me, they
Smasher.
can win all 8 races.
Target Smasher having a great year. He's got a whole bunch of 12s in there. Motor Pump, as usual, right up there, top 1 or 2 every week.
And he looking sleek without the hair on top.
And I tell you, and he's racing with a baby. And I tell you, we never bring it up, but Islip, heavy hearts, and they got something to prove.
No, 100%, right? Who has gone through more psychological,
In the
evil
last
or whatever you want to do the last
24
couple years than
months.
Islip?
Jesus.
And they have been able to take that and I'm not saying using it in a good way, but to be able to come together as a group, right? Deal with it's probably the best one, and still be successful. And a lot of it's probably in the name of those guys because those guys were winners. Billy Moon. And we've talked about it all year long, and we've talked about we should have his trophy, and we should just for Billy Moon because one of, if not the best finisher of anybody who's ever raced in this sport, Billy Moon. And we all miss the the smile and the condescending, sarcastic jokes that he would come down with, and all his things, and we do miss it. But Billy Moon is one of the greatest racers ever.
He was the definition of intensity. I don't think there's ever been a man that I was more terrified of in between these lines racing.
And you weren't a teammate. His teammates were even worse.
They were freaked out, right? Always.
Ask AJ.
But he demanded excellence from those guys because he was excellent. Yeah. And that's the key to being an incredible leader is when you can look at everybody else and say, do not blow this for me because I ain't blowing it. I'm going to bring it home, right? To have that confidence and to consistently deliver on it, hey, is what I've always felt
Billy
was
moved to the
Billy's
house.
calling card, right?
Yeah.
That was his calling card. And you guys hit it on the head. The one thing I'll take away from Islip is that it feels like the burden and the loss that they've lived with for the last few years has maybe let them realize that this is not the most important thing in the world, right? This matters to all of us. We're very passionate about it, but I think that it's allowed them to kind of refocus. They're a more serious group, without a doubt, right? They were definitely a big group of young partiers, and I feel like they've done a lot of growing up in the last 2 years. It just so happens that benefits them on the track, right?
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate why they are now that way, and how they had to get to this point. But they're all a little bit older. They're a little bit more daddier. They're a little bit more veteran, and
Boulder.
and maybe Balder too. But to me, I think that between their veteran status and their position in the lineup, that they have maybe a slight advantage over the other top team in the competition.
Yeah, I think they're hard to pick against. I really do.
Yep.
I think they're hard to pick against.
All right.
Just because of everything you just said. All right, that's going to bring us to East Islip.
As we get the Deerfield Ghostbusters.
We're
on
going to
the
run
track
one
there.
out here.
Nice.
All right.
That's
Gonna run a
that's the
Duster,
old
yeah.
that's the old South Hempstead beat truck via Bayshore
Look at that guy.
for $1 up here in Deerfield for $1. So yeah, East Islip. East Islip's another team I think can crack the top 5. Can score in multiple events. They've just been missing in hoses by a little bit. You know, we saw this week that maybe they didn't run a lot of ladders and everything coming into this drill. Chuck's going to give it one last shot here in C-Hose. Maybe the preeminent C-Hose hydroman of all time. At least the numbers tell you that.
Yeah, I put him right up there. I mean, they won C-Hose 5 years in a row.
Pretty impressive stuff.
With some records. What a think of that concept. 5 years in a row they won a contest. It's the longest streak ever in any
contest
what we've had, right?
Right. Anybody? I mean,
75 years.
You can't forget he had Eric Flynn with him the whole time as well. Somebody's got to hit the target, and Eric was
Tommy
great at that.
Drivin and, all the other things
So
go with it.
the group that came with it was impressive, but you can't take it away from Chuck running the hydrant the way he ran it. Runs it tight, runs it hot, puts it on. And if this is really going to be his last ride, we're going to miss that because he's one of those guys you come to the fence and watch, and that team as a whole you do. So I'm hoping they put together one with Robbie up top this week, and then one more time they can throw up a number and be part of something. And if they do, and I think Nick Mata's got the confidence after he ran B-Hose last couple times, at least the week before, I think it was in CI, I think they have top 5 potential.
Yeah, that's right. Sandbag with a 2-4 at the CI and the B-Hose shot. And Benny the Jet, let's not forget about him. I tell you, that kid, nice climber when he gets on that ladder.
Listen, they've got a lot of talent, but every time you just look at their schedule, they haven't raced in a couple of drills.
Work gets in the way.
You know, I know they've had issues trying to get everybody out to practice, and we all know it's tough to be competitive. It's tough to be successful if you can't get out 2 nights a week practicing,
What's that
week
Gloria
in and
Estefan?
week out.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Glorious Fun show when the work gets in the way. Get it?
What?
Got it.
You got me,
I
you
just to add one more bit to Chuck. Chuck kind of comes from a half generation post Paulie's generation of hydromen that I came from. There's only a couple of those guys left on the track that we all raced against each other for over a decade. I'm confident in saying that Chuck Tregley is the best C-Hose hydroman of that group. The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. Nobody took better drops than that guy. He did it with 17s in the front. He did it with 15s in the front. He did it with Tommy. He did it up, down, every state drill, anywhere, super, super consistently.
Wow.
If you argued that Eric was the brains behind the operation, you always needed a guy in the back to be able to be that extension, and Chuck delivered as a guy who came from the sport with no background, right? And
He learned it in Terrace. He
I
was a
gotta tell you.
slogger.
that was his youth, right? But for me, I learned how to run hydrant when I was 6 years old in Willie McCarthy's backyard.
No, exactly.
Right? Chris Connell learned how to run hydrant in his dad's driveway.
Yeah, ditto. We were
Okay?
the same. Yeah,
right.
no, we
And
did
so
the
I'm a lifer in
Yeah.
a way that Chuck Treglia was not. He
No, that's
showed up
true.
and he loved this game from the beginning, and he taught himself how to do this sport. And he, oh God, I'm so nervous. What do you got?
So, Paul, Chuck better than you?
Chuck's from a different era. I don't know. I don't know if you get off.
How could you pick, right? I mean, how could
I don't
you
know if
pick,
you get off a beat truck with no brakes like that.
Yeah, you couldn't decide.
But I will say this. I'll say this. He's probably
I knew
making
that answer.
he's probably making the right move because I know when I get out of bed these days, it's a little bit more difficult. And he didn't want to be the first guy ever to race with a baby. So we got to make sure he's going to get out on time. He's got to
it's
get out
tough,
of here on
man.
time.
I mean, he's got you got little baby Thor at home, and baby Thor, and being the first man ever to be on a New York State Fire Department drill team with a child is definitely difficult.
I
so.
think if we had Eric Flynn running Nozzle Me 15 years, I'd put my numbers there with it. So.
Yeah,
There's your answer.
You take that, Artie.
No, it's not my brother. We went through 5 other nozzle
You
men.
did?
So, yeah.
You did. Wait. All right. Ray, Rory.
Mike, well, so I've run
Welton.
I've run under 775 with
gotta be the
5
quality
different
show
nozzle
sometime.
men.
5 different nozzles.
Yeah. 6 different breakers, 2 different drivers.
How
Wait a
many?
second.
How many
Oh.
sevens in Vihos total?
Oh, a lot. I don't know.
Me or you more?
It's right here
Me.
in this immaculate grid.
You more? You more
Yeah.
sevens than me.
Yeah.
You gonna look it up right now?
Every
Should we look it up
every,
right now?
every 7 in Bayshore history outside of probably I think 3.
I don't care.
2 or 3.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
I don't know what it is.
I'm just asking you.
Well, how many? What's your number?
Want to put money on it right now?
What's your number?
I don't know.
2 more.
I gotta look it up.
We'll look it up after. We'll bring the answer on Saturday.
All right, we got Selden up next. And they've had a
I think you guys should put a little wager on it if we're really going to go this
Absolutely,
much.
I'm in. Absolutely. What do you got?
100%.
Ooh.
This would be good.
What do I got?
Whoever wins gets to MC the Suffolk County dinner this year.
You got it.
Gene's wearing my,
I'm not going to be there.
I know.
Gene's got my shirt on.
Yeah, with the mustard stain.
Oh, there you go, Gene. Nice.
All right, so
You got a Billy Cornell autograph on that shirt.
Selden up next.
Yeah, it's,
haven't seen much of them this year.
It's going to be tough for them, I think, to score. But, the fact that they're out here and, they could, if anything, I think Behoes is probably their best race.
Yeah, Ellesmere coming this year?
Ellesmere for the first time. They've been practicing the last couple of weeks. They're going to be out here.
Good.
Also going to be tough for them to score. But as the only official Northern team here at the Northern State Tournament, I'm glad they're going to come out and participate.
Fantastic.
You think back at Ellesmere, they run with the mini pumper. They score with a mini pumper in 1982.
In Olean.
They score with a mini in the snow.
Snowflakes.
That's right.
True
So
story.
they score with
In
a mini pumper
That's awesome.
before it gets cut down.
That's awesome.
I think there were boots hanging off the side.
All right,
Sick.
next up we have the. We're running a little late on time here. We're getting
Yeah,
close.
so we'll finish it up. We're getting close. South Hempstead.
Hempstead.
They're, to me, another spoiler team. They can score in a bunch of races. They've scored in the state before, as we saw where Twan put that up. The most points they've ever scored in a state tournament is 4. Do you think they can top it?
I do.
Efficiency would be a shot.
It's always been their, especially
I
has been
think
their
this
thing.
team is actually pretty good. They have. I mean, listen, Twan's always in our ear. He's talking up his boys, and we appreciate that. But that 667 and 3-man's right there, right? I mean, they've got a 13, 15 in C-Hose. B-Hose they haven't run, but this group can put it together, man. I think they could definitely have an impact. Without a doubt. Without a
No,
doubt.
I agree. I think they could top 4 as well, especially if they get the drops consistent for spats there and they can get the nozzle and hit the target.
Get the nozzle
They
on.
they are in that.
There's big numbers there.
They're
Yeah.
in that group of teams in efficiency that can shake it up. So anything's possible. We're going to basically pull out the top 5 in efficiency out of one of those raffle bins, those raffle barrels. That's that's how we're scoring top
Nice
5.
881.
I'm actually excited to see Ryan Marr after one more summer with Matt Spinelli Nozzle Camp.
Yeah.
One more off season, excuse
It'll be
me.
fun.
And he's already shown improvement, but I think you're going to see even better next year.
Okay.
Spats has one more year in him because he's throwing down some heavy hammers. 245 at the Hempstead Indoor.
That's awesome.
All right, here we go. Next up, we have the Oyster Bay Teddy's Boys. Interesting team here. They've got some numbers. It's just they don't have many of them. There's only 3 or 4 tournaments they've raced.
Well, to me, maybe the most improved team in Nassau if you go from beginning to end, because at the beginning of the year, we didn't even know if they were coming out to play.
No trees, trucks,
And
no people, no trucks.
they come out and they've really improved and had really good numbers. If you're not picking North Belmore as your representative in Nassau County to crack the top 5, the outside chance after that, Oyster Bay. What do you think?
I'm sorry. I was just talking to Gene.
Yeah,
I
stop talking to
apologize.
Gene.
First of all, best new nickname 2023. Right off the bat.
Say it
okay?
right, though.
The Wet Bandits.
Yep.
What?
No,
Gotta love it.
Careful.
go.
Water Catching Willie and
Water gets you
Handle
with it.
Henry. That's their names. That's what they call themselves.
I love it. And if you aren't following the Teddy Boys on
Doing their video?
Instagram, you got to follow the Teddy Boys on Instagram. They're putting a lot of magic together. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of fun videos from these guys, and that one when they do the whole thing with The Home Alone bit is awesome.
Yeah. That was awesome. It was really great. But that 7 is the one here out of the list, right? Although the 2188 in buckets as well is another one of these teams that was able to fill in 11. And for them, those would be the two, I think, the lowest hanging fruit. But Motor Pump is right there as well. I think that we came into this year wondering if Oyster Bay was even going to be here. Okay? There was some discussion about that not happening. Here we are right now with them right on the precipice of a possible top 5. That's great.
They've got 3 contests. They run well enough to score, and in some cases, more than a couple of points. Get some big numbers. But if they want to be in the top 5, they're going to need all 3.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're going to have to at least get 3 points in them. It's
Yeah.
not going to be 4th and 5th. They're going to need all 3, but I think they're going to need something else somewhere as well.
Is Stephen O'Neill good climber? If they give Steve
Right.
O'Neill a ladder, Jim Sigler does a nice job throwing for him, but it all depends if those diggers can hold it. I mean, you got the father-son combination over there, and they try to get done, the Barada father and son, Nick and Wayne, but if they can get it done and get Steve a ladder, he's got a first place under his
Yes,
belt. He's
100%.
won 5 points to be ladder
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the state drill before.
And here.
At this track.
Yeah,
At this track.
Last time we were here, and it's something they can do, but it's just got to happen.
All right, as you move to the end of the
Put it all.
scorecard, you're not going to be able to put to bed the fact that you've scored in the top 5 until you watch what Hageman does. Hageman's another one of those teams. To me, they can pretty much almost score in all 8 races. They're not like Islip and Sea that can win 8 races, but I believe they can score in 8 races if they put it together.
Right.
Now, it's been a comeback year for them. Tough start. Johnny on the flat went out a little. He moved and everything like that. But you can't put it in the score official column until you come out and see Hageman race.
They haven't put together a good hose shot yet this year, but we all know what Colo can do. And like we talk about, it's hard for Aaron to get consistent up top with the nozzle if you don't give him any water. And all of a sudden, now you're going to give him water, and he hasn't had water. That's how it is. But be it as it is, efficiency's been great. They've run a good bucket shot last time out, 22:58. Where's Brendan Dunn is doing the climbing now. He's put it together lately. 9:28, 6:55. They can sneak it in there in the ladders.
Yeah, that's a 928, which is if there's a little bit of potential there under that 928, they could really do a little bit of damage in C ladder, almost surprisingly out of nowhere, right? And you look at 3-man ladder. There's 5 out of 6 tournaments they ran a 6. Okay, 655. Again, you mentioned efficiency. Buckets is still there. We know Cole the Gunslinger can make it happen without a doubt. So. This team's 5th place last year in the state drill. I know they want to do that again. With how this year has played out for them, I know that would be it might not seem like a massive achievement. It would be a massive achievement for them to be in the top 5 again this year.
No, 100%
My two
agree.
They have nothing but pride if that was the case.
My 2 biggest questions for Hageman are, can Tosh be consistent driving the truck?
Yep.
And do they have gas for it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a rough
story.
one.
I can never tell if John Robert Tascio likes me or wants to murder me. I can't tell.
That county drill, he was going to
You
kill
want the
somebody.
answer?
Yep.
Oh, man.
No, don't tell me. I want the mystery.
So how long ago?
He's
they
probably
break
with 80% of the other people.
How long ago did they break the pump record?
Oh, good.
2 years ago?
2 years ago, and they have yet to put up a time in motor pump.
Yeah.
That just blows
Since.
my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're a different
Maybe not
nozzle,
since,
man.
just this year.
Right.
Yeah, no
Well,
less-
shockingly,
all
though,
that is
that
issue.
was kind of the same lifespan of West Islip's
Well,
state record
I was
run,
1 and out.
which is impressive. I
Yeah.
mean, that might be the only contest where you could BAP and then do the kind of run you're talking about.
Well, West
here, you know?
Islip, it was like we're going to try to repeat that. It's almost impossible. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah, yeah.
repeat those state runs. You got to
Right.
go out and just run your run. And I don't think they completed it the rest of the year as well, like what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But
that doesn't mean they don't know how to do it.
no, they know how
And
to
this
do
is
it.
a track that wants to pump a little bit, and
yeah.
they're going to show up here
and pump-
and lay it down.
Could be the worst contest of the year. It's
So
gonna be-
far,
to
so
me, it
far.
could be wide open.
I think we spent a lot of time on a lot of really tough pump tracks this year, right?
Yes.
And one of those is Lindenhurst. It's kind of evolved away from us, right? But in a way that feels like in the past we had more good pump tracks. We really didn't. I would say 50% plus of the runs we took this year were on lousy pump tracks. So that doesn't help the argument, right? That doesn't make it more obvious. But I do agree with your point, though, that pump feels like 3-man ladder 2021.
All right, we're
Right.
down to 2 teams left. The last team on the scorecards, the Henrietta Old Henrys, and they are in a complete rebuild. So for them, coming out here, I think it's going to be really difficult to score. But
Dean Marshall getting the team out there. Good,
Yeah.
Good to see.
Yeah, Chuck still out there and getting it done. And
Yeah, no ladders, a couple of hose shots out there, and
But this is what it
1089,
takes, though. This is what it takes, and this is what's we don't ever want to lose a team.
Gotta
But
keep
most
going.
importantly, Western, they can't afford to lose a team, right? So what these guys are doing is God's work right now and keeping the program alive until somebody's kid who's playing in the driveway shows up, and then next thing you know, they're the next big team in
yeah,
Western.
not
So-
easy to do.
When the
Not
blood
easy to
trickles
do.
down,
So
it all
you're
gets
right.
good.
Give them a lot of credit, a lot of good history there in Henrietta. And then the only post entry that I know of so far, the great Bend Cobras, another team that's only been out a little bit this year. So you don't know what to expect from them. Be really difficult for them to score. I don't know the last team. Well, they're actually part of Western, but the last team from the northern area to score in a state drill goes back a lot of years at this point.
Yes,
I
sir.
have a very serious question.
Yeah.
Great
All right.
band.
Tim Irie, president of the state from Great Bend Cobras. Traditionally, the president of the state team is permitted to march in the host division, right? Are they the 7th team in the host division, I think?
I don't know.
I think they are,
They can't be.
but they're post-entry in the drill.
They're not. They're
gotta
marching
march
at the
twice.
end.
They gotta march twice.
No, they can
I
do.
love- that's a great
listen,
thing.
they can do both, but
Oh, they could do both.
I think it's pretty cut and dry because we were post entry and we came in the top 5,
And you had to march
and
twice?
they let us march in the front
And march
with the
back?
stipulation that you also had to march in the back. So we marched twice.
Matt Hassett got stuck with that too.
That sucks.
We marched
That's
twice.
They
painful.
finished second and they had to march in it.
So
twice.
as far as I know, nothing's changed since that time.
Woof. Now, the difference is it ain't a top 5. It's a...
Yeah, well, yeah, but
You know.
yeah. So yeah.
Ouch. By the way, Utica Club, Pilsner, and Locker? Is it the
Yeah.
same? Can you be both?
Oh yeah, let's put them all together.
Hey,
That's why there's 2 X's.
One picture of
Right.
Great Bend.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you see Great Bend and you see this guy with jeans out there, he's the announcer of this game. It's Mark Palmerville. He's been there for years, and I tell you, he has
But that's the northern way.
fantastic hands.
That's the northern way. Jeans, little key ring,
Yep.
pager.
He's got his keys on. He's got his pager ready
Yeah.
to go. and
Listen,
he-
Chain wallet.
If there's a
Chain
call,
wallet.
if there's a call halfway down, he's getting credit. He's
Yeah,
going.
He's going.
watch his. If you
He's
get
the
chance-
nozzle man. He gets off of the hydrant to get on the truck.
Watch his hands. How quick.
He's a nozzle man on the fire truck, too.
That's right.
Breaks it by himself, gets it all done, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, he's a good guy, actually.
All right,
so
so,
that's it. That's our lineup. Now, I know you guys have too much skin in the game to give a top 5. Obviously, you're wearing your first place over there on your Hawaiian
Hawaiian
shirt.
shirt.
Yeah, my
Yeah, that's a real
My
nice
band
Hawaiian
uniform.
shirt. But and I know, Rob, I wouldn't put you up against it, so it's down to me and you, Billy. And we don't even have to do top 5, but think about it. Who's going to be your pick for the winner? Now, it's been 2 teams out there all year. What's your prediction?
Top five prediction.
All right.
Top 5
Well,
prediction.
let's do the winner first.
Yes, you know, I'll put it out there.
Go ahead.
Here it is.
Now,
play
'cause
your
And, I,
game.
and I'll
I'll
tell
play
you
your
something.
a lot of people are waiting for this because they got to finish their
I'm
Wildcat
just
pool.
watching this right now, how it works out, and I'm telling you, had it been the other way around, had Islip gotten the draw that CI has, there's no doubt in my mind, I'm picking CI, but where Islip stands, CI is up front, Islip's going to have 25 teams between them and the top pack. They definitely have the advantage, and I know Mike Welton will get his job done. I'm going with the Wolves, and it's going to be close. It's going to come down to the end. It's going to be a nail-biter. We've had 2 or 3 great drills in a row. I should say that. We've had 4 or 5 great drills in a row. We've had drills here that came down to the last bucket. But I think Islip, that's my thing. And it's a close drill. I'm going to say Islip 21, CI 19-20, somewhere in that range. And you're going to need at least 10 points to get on this track.
And then where you going after that? So you got Islip CI.
West Sable's going to be right there. North Lindy's going to be right there. It's going to be
It's a lot.
going to be close.
Yep.
And Point Pleasant, maybe they sneak. I think of those are your top 5. How it works out, but it's such a good question to have.
Yep.
Where we're not talking about 1 or 2 teams and that's it. Like we were talking about earlier. Had you asked us a month ago, no doubt it's going to be Islip, Central Islip,
Right,
in
right.
whatever order you want to put.
In the order.
But the way it's worked out in the last month,
Got
wow.
more interesting.
Well, you have a good culmination and teams all peaking at the same time.
Now I hear.
Your top 5, Paul, because we got to close up.
Yeah, okay,
We got Channel 2 here
Yep,
for the
awesome.
local media who wants to do a quick interview, so we're going to get
Well,
them
all
in again.
right, I'll finish up quickly. I was debating back and forth, CI Islip. It's almost where you come down and flip a coin. You know, you looked at them all year long. The consistency of both teams. They can each win
7 or 8.
the 8 contest, and each of them could score in the 30s. We could see a 31-30. I didn't know which way to go, but I had to make a decision, and my pick is the winner of this year's state drill, West Sable Flying Dutchman.
Nice. I like it too.
I believe the Dutch are on a trajectory where if anybody falters, they can win this drill.
I
Now-
don't think it's even a faltering thing. I think they can win it outright.
I think the way if they can score in hoses like we've seen them run the last couple weeks, I have West Sable as the winner, Islip second, CI third, North Lindy and Point Pleasant battling out for fourth and fifth.
I see a parallel here to your point, okay? The year 2000, West Sable, brand new driver. Well, not brand new. They brought Bob Maurer back into the seat, right? And didn't really do much all year, and then were able to sneak into a state championship basically based upon their experience and the ability to just bust out a couple of contests and having the best ladder climber of all time. Billy Horton's not the best ladder climber of all time, but he's having his best year ever.
He's
He
the
looks
best
good.
ever, yeah.
He looks good.
Steve Blasky has done an incredible job stepping in for Ryan Huguenin, and putting Billy back into hoses was a great move. I mean, I hate to
Yeah,
say it, but right
that was
now
true.
there's been a lot of production from Billy, and it reminds me when Billy went into Hydrant in Kopek that first year. He was lights out. We were like, oh, God, we're all going to lose now because Billy's running. And then he kind of like lost his path. If he can continue to produce the way he's producing.
Hey, the state tournaments bring crazy things, and that was just off the cuff a little bit. My daughter is texting me like I'm a crazy person. She's right behind you,
Yeah.
telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. But
Listen, I
the
don't.
first text I get in capital letters was like, West Sable? Are you serious?
We got to wrap it up
Yes.
because
Yeah.
we got to do an interview.
Okay,
I'm
one-
not giving a prediction, guys,
Go.
but what I do want to say is I have a hope that it does come down to buckets,
Me too.
Yes.
and we get to give that show to everybody watching, everybody here, and that we can call buckets. And
We're down to buckets for the ninth
We'll see.
time in 10 years, hopefully, right?
All right, one more thing, we're out of here.
Yep.
47s.
You looked it up?
Yep, 5 different nozzles.
Who texted you?
I looked it up.
He couldn't shut up, and he still had a chance to look that up.
You should have told me. I would have looked it up this whole time.
Nope. We got to go. Goodbye.
Have a good night, everybody.
We got to go. All right.
All right.
I hope everybody enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Can't wait till Saturday.
8:30 Saturday morning, we'll be here for the pregame show, the live pregame show, hopefully, from Deerfield. And as always, stay classy, New York. We'll see you 8:30 for the state championship. Woo!